Yeah, the process and change. You know, and so there's different dynamics always at play, you know.
Tell me what I'm missing here. All these drinks, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah,
cost of goods, growth
Well,
that
we
they expect
changed
to
it
take.
to FZX.
I know. The joys of unlimited. And then trying to articulate that
they're poor, but
to the residents.
Well, yeah, because they yell at you, because they're, yeah, exactly.
she started in the jail.
No, well, because we just.
No, it was just, I think I filled it up. It's in the,
Yeah.
Sense to me.
You're ripping out. Number one, it's the station.
yeah, okay, yeah.
But it's in everything.
And I, you know, it's tough. It's tough.
You have to politely say, as we've said about 100 times, honey, it's state. Oh.
You look pretty good with math. Not a scholar either.
No,
You is.
I found that out quickly.
Oh, you'll learn that on day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even day one. It was, I wasn't even in yet.
What I read about this Trump, that he
You know, I'm not even sure.
Valley and got the money. What is the basis is that he's the fiduciary responsibility of the bank.
Don't even remember what it is. I just got Nick, then home assassin after
He's dead, this is the producer.
there by the post office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. But my dream was always to find one when I went to the beach, and I told them, I went to the Keys and it's really yeah, I'm sure you did. Well, I went that way, they all went that way.
Did you find any?
As I was there, this was,
I don't get up in the morning, I go to the surgery.
no, before the
Just talk about it. It's on the same road, basically. Once you get right on Pump Building, it's just straight the whole way.
Yeah. 5 minutes?
Good morning. Mickey says 9 o'clock on my watch.
Yep.
So I'd like to call the May Tourist Development Council meeting to order. So I'm going to find the agenda. So Jack, would you mind doing the invocation,
I'll
please?
do it gladly. If y'all will please join me and bow your heads for the invocation if you're so inclined. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this meeting time, and thank you again that we live in a free nation where we can meet openly. Thank you for letting the county be better after we've met, and let everything we do here be fair and just. We just ask all these things, and always ask you to bless our troops and our first responders. In Jesus' name we pray and thank you. Amen.
Amen.
You would do the roll call, sir?
Yeah, I will. Mike Angles,
Yes. Here?
Mitty Hastings,
Okay, that's what I thought.
present. Holly Davis, not here yet. Luann Jacobs, also not here yet. Michael Shoemaker,
Yes, here.
Dr. Desai,
Yes.
Max Showman,
Here.
Councilwoman Hepburn.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Freezer.
What's funny is I was actually running early this morning.
Michael Mankey.
the best laid plans.
Yes. Sorry, y'all.
Okay, we just.
Keep going and let me
Yep.
get started.
Michael Mankey
You're
Here.
and Holly Davis, present. Oh, and Luann Jacobs, present. That'll count to everyone.
One of those days.
So next up is approval of the agenda.
Move approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
All right. Want me to take over?
Yep, have at it.
Oh, goody. All right, looking for a motion for approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Hepner, second by Mankey. Any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, open to the public. Would anyone like to address the board? Come on up, this is your time. Hi, Alicia. All right, seeing none, I guess we'll move right on. Presentations. Please tell me I have a pen in this madness.
I've got one here. I have another one.
Well, she has another one, so you take yours. All right, Abbas or,
Yes, I guess, we're gonna skip the first one.
We are going to skip the first one, the Taste and Tales Food Tours. So Elizabeth Fernley will be presenting that. She is going to be running just a little bit behind. She asked if she could come in a little bit later. She had a prior engagement, but she will be coming to the meeting, so we will just push her to the end of the presentation. So we'll go ahead and start with Allison Pinkston, if you're ready.
morning, Allison.
Good morning. Which one am I presenting first? I didn't grab an agenda. It's kind of bad, isn't it?
The first one on here is the tourist map of downtown Crystal River.
Okay, so since I started, that's one of the projects we've been working on. We've actually worked with Twisted Arts Initiative to create a new tourist map that kind of goes back to the old feel of Crystal River. It looks more like a pirate map versus clip art. So they've done a great job in redesigning. We're finishing out our final touches, but this will be a map that's going to go into our hotels. It's going to be at the Wildlife Center. It'll be at Three Sisters Visitor Center. It'll be at our downtown kiosk. And then any place else that will let us put it, that's where we're going to put it. We'd asked for $1,500, which would cover the cost of, I believe, 6,000 maps, but we plan on continuing to print them over and over again. We're also working, we've brought on a few partners that are help covering the cost of that map, which will also have ad space. And then any additional ad space we have, we're gonna sell per printing. Per printing is, I think, $1,500. And then that will continue to, we'll update it as we need to, but it'll be a map for all of our tourists to know where our shops and restaurants, our parks, parking, because parking is a big issue in Crystal River right now. People don't know where the parking lots are. So that was one thing we made very clear, is where all the parking is in our downtown.
Are you including the lots behind Citrus Ave, behind the fronts on Citrus Ave, like all the locals know, but nobody else does?
Yes. Yeah, even Frank DiGiovanni came up for lunch, and he's like, I didn't even know how to get to that parking lot. I knew there was one back there, but I didn't know how to get to it. I was like, yeah, I sneaked through the old city hall to get into it. And he's like, yeah, I don't think my car would fit through there.
Yeah.
Because his is a little bit taller.
Yeah.
But even that parking lot's getting ready to get redone completely. So that is one of our projects. Another project I'm actually working on with Leslie, we're trying to find funding to redo all of our wayfinding signs and get redesigns of wayfinding. So hopefully with that project, we'll have more signs to show parking, but it will also, that parking lot is on the map.
Okay.
Question?
Yep.
Max?
First, comment, the map is beautiful. It's a great initiative. In fact, when I moved here permanently in 2012, I first met Ardith and then started writing books when I went in and asked for a copy of a map that they had that was very similar and very memorable. And they didn't. And they didn't because the copyright on that map was owned by the company that printed it.
Yeah.
So my question is, who owns this map?
I guess that would be me, because we did a cooperative for free advertisements, and they're an in-kind partner to help us with that.
Okay, because what ended up there was they couldn't do that map or anything that looked like that
Yeah.
map for quite some time.
Yeah, that's William Mickey's map, I'm guessing. Yeah, I contacted him about that too, so. And
Did he
it's not
share?
really him, it's the ex-wife that holds it.
Still a situation I wouldn't want to see us in again
Yeah.
where we
No,
don't.
this would be owned by Crystal River Main Street,
And
so.
a comment about wayfinding, the city of Inverness has got a really good program going right now. It would behoove the county if you would at least look at their standards and their palette and all those things that they had a wonderful job done on. And if we establish a county de facto standard, it would allow other folks to do wayfinding that then makes it so when tourists come in, it's a lot easier to navigate all of the county and not just one city.
So I have actually kind of wormed my way into Frank's good graces, and he is assisting Crystal River Main Street quite a bit, and he is bringing some of the things he's done for Inverness over to Crystal River to help us find our starting point, what we need to do to move forward to get to where Inverness is, where it's very hustling. You know, there's a lot of parking, but yet there's a lot of walkability that right now we are lacking in Crystal River. So Frank and I usually meet once a week. He's been coming to my board meetings. He sits in with me on some of the meetings that are kind of over my head because I don't have a background in planning or resiliency or anything like that. And he is much more knowledgeable. So,
He's a dear friend, and I love him, I really do, but it would be good if you worked with the city.
Well, that was, which Frank are you working with?
D. Giovanni.
Okay. Yep, yeah, that, he wasn't with us when we did the wayfind, so he's got the connections to some extent, but you should probably talk to our current people. I would start with Eric.
Okay.
And as far as brand standards go and so forth, have you ever seen a brand standards manual, other than maybe ours? So I've got a ton of them, because that's
Okay.
one of the things that my company does, so I'm happy to show you and I think I've written a blog topic on it and everything, and it just kind of gives you a primer on why it's important.
Which is one of the things we're looking at doing. Leslie would like to hire a consultant to come in and kind of completely rebrand, because all of our signs are mismatched. You know, some of the signs are very old. They're going to have to be replaced, and instead of replacing them, we're looking at getting a whole new design for them so that we can kind of come up to 2024 versus 1984. So, you know, and there are grants available for main streets to do this. I spoke with my director last week, and she gave me she's like, hey, you need to look at this grant, because one of the other main streets used this grant to do wayfinding signs and redevelop their branding for their town.
Yeah.
So, and it's like I want to say it's a small match in a 50,000.
Yeah.
And with being a main street, we don't have to match.
Right.
So.
Well, we can talk offline just as, you know.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Any other questions?
All right. So the next one is the historic walking tour map. Back when Karen Peters was involved in the community, she had created a really nice walking tour. There were maps, there was a phone number you called into with different stops. All of that has been disconnected. So I have been working with the Historical Society, my local businesses, anyone that's been in the community a really long time. I currently have a digital one, but it is not getting any traffic whatsoever. So I want to create a historic walking tour map that will also, I'm looking at getting a grant for signage that I can put with my buildings, which we can add in possibly audio. It would link to a website with more stories. I want it more than just about the buildings. I'm really trying to develop the stories of the people that were once in Crystal River. So I feel like that's very important for people to connect and to really enjoy a community. You've got to have the stories. You've got to have some type of personal connection. You know, like Lolly Island. You know, nobody would ever think this guy went out here and built an island and lived there with his 13 kids. or 11 kids, so trying
I
to
remember
get those
that
stories.
story.
Yeah,
That's the little island that had used to have an old shack on it. It's near
Yes.
Christmas Island.
yep.
Yep.
Jerry Mulligan is wanting to save the island, so that's becoming a Main Street project also. But, trying to really connect people, because while we have manatees and that's great, we need people to actually invest in our community when they come. And history is always a great way to do that, especially when you have a personal story. Doc Hudson's was a doctor's office and a pharmacy, but hey, Babe Ruth went there. These are the stories that I feel like need to be told. So I'm working on developing that, and I want a map that these people can walk around and see these buildings and hear these stories.
Allison, is this gonna be a Main Street, or is there gonna be a for-profit entity running the tours?
No,
Or is it
it's Main
strictly
Street.
self-guided?
It'd be self-guided until I can build up more of a volunteer base. And then maybe we could do like Saturday tours. But at this point, it would just be self-guided.
I know previously there was sort of a for-profit entity involved.
Yeah.
You know,
Nope. This would all be nonprofit with Main Street.
We have two county employees that, I'm a member of the Citrus County Historical Society. We have two county employees. They happen to reside in the old courthouse, but they're county employees, and they're exceptionally competent at what they do. And in the society, Ken Marat, I don't know if you see, the Chronicle has started carrying him on Fridays, they come on Thursdays, phenomenal writer. And you give him a subject and he comes back with stuff that makes you want to cry.
So I've reached out to them. I started reaching out to them towards the end of the summer, and I gave them the list of people, and I have not heard back. And I called back probably in October, and then life's been a little crazy.
Yeah.
And I need to follow up on that.
I'll give you my card and I'll take care of that.
Okay, that would be awesome. Thank you.
It's a great initiative because we're doing so many more tours now, and the demand, once you start doing them in Inverness, and it is so great when somebody takes them around and shows them literally how wonderful our history is, how peaceful and beautiful our history is by and large. And so,
Yeah, and part of what is developing a lot of this is, I really like history anyway, but we're in the middle of a historic research survey. So we have a consultant that's come in. She's identified over 250 properties that are historic buildings. But part of that historic research survey is they have a whole narrative that talks about the history of Crystal River and different factors that made Crystal River what it is. The mullet, the cypress, the citrus, like all the things that caused us to develop the way that we are. So tying that in, we have Michigan Town. Most people are like, oh, what's Michigan Town? Well, it was this whole little area of downtown Crystal River that was inhabited by people from Michigan that created their own club. Their houses have specialized fencing around them made from limestone, and they would come down in summer and fish, and you have heritage that just nobody knows about. And I feel like that's something we really need to get out. When I travel, I'm always finding the most random history things to go see. My poor children hate me. But they know a lot. They've walked the Freedom Trail through Boston. Yeah. They've been to the Salem witch trials, and they've seen all the gravestones. And, these are things that they'll hold the rest of their lives. And maybe it's because my dad was like this huge Civil War buff that I've been to so many playing fields that there was once a battle in the 1800s that I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to see another field. But I still remember going to them, and it gave me this love of history, and I think it helps you connect on a whole different level.
Well, those articles like that, Michiganders are a special group, and they've always been big here. But when you turn it over to them and they're doing placement on ads or concentration, and they've got a piece like that to work with, that's a big help.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I don't, I just have a comment, though. I'm excited to see this, just because, we're so concerned about the growth and the change coming in, that it's important to make sure that we know our roots, and, it brings a lot to the table for people who come in to actually see, where Crystal began, so I'm
Amen.
excited about this.
It's also important for new residents to learn too, because I keep running up against the wall of folks that came from less community-minded communities, and they bring those attitudes, and I really want them to kind of open their minds and their hearts to becoming more of a Citrus County community-minded person. And
Agreed.
I think a lot of that history stuff helps, so,
It's important to who we all are.
yeah.
Oh, 100%.
this
No
is-
matter where we came from to begin with, it's important to us here,
I
for
think
sure.
This is the greatest challenge in our, I think any of our living memory, is trying to shepherd all this growth, and it's hard. It wakes me up at night. Yes, ma'am?
Well, with our historic plaque program we have in downtown, any day of the week you go down there and there's people, someone's taking a picture with them on each side of the plaque. It really is an amazing thing, and it makes people go, I didn't know. I mean, people still don't know that at one time Floral City was bigger than Miami back in the day. So the history, if you get it out there, they will come.
Oh, yeah.
And it just helps people get a better understanding of where we're going and what the city's visions are when you look at the history, so it's a good deal.
Any other comments, Michael?
Much as all this idea, could Ovis explain to us, for a lot of new board members, if and how it meets the criteria of our charter with the tax collection and for the use of tourism development and overnight stays and promotion outside of the county?
No, it meets it. It's actually pretty ideal for it. So, in regards to, the collections and the charter in regards to marketing with that 50-mile radius outside of the county, the collateral, and the idea behind it, it's something that, from a historian standpoint, it's a big market, and they spend a lot of money, and they go all places. It's almost like you can also tie in a genealogy to this as well. So, which is a huge market. So, it's good.
Thank you. Does that satisfy you?
Sure.
One of the,
Is there brochures going to be put in a brochure place somewhere 50 miles away from us? Is there going to be promotion online? Is there going to be overnight stays accommodated with this? All the things that our charter with our tax collection is designed to do.
Yep.
Just asking the question.
It's a very,
Which
it's a
I've-
very
On the
good question.
surface, it doesn't appear that complies, but obviously, smarter brains and mine have looked at this and decided it does.
Yeah.
I've actually spoken with the ladies. Once we get this fully developed, they also want to push it on the website. We've also talked about, doing a live where we walk around and we do some of the stops. The Three Sisters trolley, we've also talked about trying to educate the drivers to also point out those historical places.
Again, wonderful in the county. That's not what our job is.
Yeah, the thing with the brochures, and I see what you're saying, Michael, is just like even our maps or our trail rides. Obviously the visitors, the tourists are coming into the office.
Look for something to do, and if we can get them to stay one more night, all wonderful stuff.
Exactly, and then also some of these, same brochures have the great opportunity of coming into our welcome centers, our travel centers across the state, on the interstate, which is actually huge, which is kind of what you're referring to.
Yeah,
and
is it in the plan that it's going to be in the Visit Florida welcome centers in Tallahassee?
yeah, and those are the things that I would like to that I would like to see happen, in the
Sorry for
visitor
being
centers.
specific.
No, I mean, Michael brings up a very good point. I would also say yes, we need to
And
get.
I love it, don't get me wrong, it's needed, it's wanted, I'm looking forward to it, but it just,
Yes,
again, probably with us, we're under the radar enough, nobody's going to sue us over improper use of our funds anyway, so.
yes, we need to have the maps spread out beyond our county, absolutely.
They are.
But
They're in the welcome centers in I-75, I-95. I mean,
But I would also say that there's a lot of content development goes into that, a lot of thought, a lot of research, a lot of the writing of the history and everything. All of that is beautiful fodder for an ad campaign,
Yes.
right? So a lot of that content ends up getting repurposed in other ways, I think, to bring even more
Again.
people in.
Put it in the plan, present.
Well,
Yeah, and-
and I would just, especially, this is the collateral for the actual printing.
Yeah.
So there's the other stuff around the edges, the walking tour, the lives, et cetera, the website. They're all great, but the 1,500 specifically for the printing. So I think it's a great idea. We just need to make sure that the hard copy materials are being sent out.
Oh,
And if that gets penciled in on the side of the plan, I'm good to go.
No, that is this would be to help cover the cost of the printing. I'm also looking at a heritage educational grant through the state that would cover the cost of all of the development and the graphic arts. So, and this, you know, obviously, I'm gonna be spending way more than $1,500 on walking tour maps,
Yes.
especially going throughout the state, so.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
since
go
I'm the
ahead.
newest one here and still trying to grasp, and appreciate your question, but, so it has to, I'm confused as to what.
Again, I would love the staff to do it, because I'm only a volunteer for 15 years.
As how it relates to meeting the criteria,
Right,
because.
there's a whole list of what this money is designed, capable, how we collect it, how we distribute it, what we can use it for, all the criteria, which again, I'm not the keeper of the.
But at the end of the day, the bottom line is about the people staying overnight. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's-
That's at the
From
end
a,
of
from
the
a
day, that's what it
technicality,
is.
yeah, from a
So the
technicality
more
standpoint, yeah.
things there are to do, especially when, like, you're advertising to bring people in for these manatee trips and to dine here and there, the more things they had to do, the longer they'll stay.
Absolutely.
So if they have something to do in the evening, to go to the, historical area or what have you, so that in itself doesn't meet the criteria.
Well, it's where it's promoted to establish that. When do people make their reservations to come to a place? Do they make them when they're here, or do they stay at a hotel once they've made the decision 6 months ago? Do you go to Italy and just decide to stay at a hotel because you're in Italy now?
Well, I have.
He would
The
like
majority of
traveling with
people.
me.
Yeah.
You had a first night stay, I bet.
No, actually, people do wing it, right?
Some, 8.2%, I think, come through the Visitor Bureau in the last statistics I saw at Visit Florida without a first night reservation. But I'll guarantee you, because I sat at the visitor centers for years working for the Destination Daytona Group, and they may not know what hotel they're sleeping in, but they know what city they're going to. You cannot sway them to change from Orlando to Daytona just because they're not deciding what night they're sleeping. As a general rule, people make their decision to go somewhere long before they get there, or they wouldn't have ever gotten in the car, the airplane, the bus, the train, or the boat to go. So the decision-making process to where they stay or potentially overnight is done 6, 8, 10, 12, 4, 3, 2 days before. This doesn't hit those people till they show up and walk down the street.
Yeah.
Fair?
I got you.
Okay, so we have spoken several times, and I'm very excited about the map and the walking tour. And I did mention that I would do a live feed, which I think would be great. And then as soon as it launches, then I'll be promoting it on social media. I'll be doing stories, and and it just won't be a one-time thing. I'll be repeating to promote it. And
Is that not in the plan?
I don't know, but I know we've spoken
Well,
about it.
I guess
so-
the reason it's not written down in the plan was because,
And
from
what
my
do you-
understanding, it just discussed what the map was gonna be of, not necessarily
How it's gonna be used? I thought there was
how far it was gonna be expanded.
again, it gets into the concept of what the marketing concept for the plan was,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I take a lot of my information, like, if they're like, hey, we're gonna put this here, I'm gonna give them boxes of maps and be like, here, take them everywhere. I'm not gonna hold it just to Citrus County. And I'm gonna say this from a person that has traveled a lot. I did a 3-week trip in New England. You know, I went all the way up to Maine. I made my Boston reservation the night before we showed up at 11 o'clock. We stayed in Poughkeepsie, New York,
When did you
because we
decide
decided to
go
ride a
Boston?
train.
When did you decide to go to Boston?
Well, I was staying on Cape Cod.
When did you decide to go to Cape Cod?
That one we actually made reservations for.
You have plans in your head to go somewhere long before you get there. The more things you can do, and again,
Right.
we can pick out the 1 or 2% of people that travel, the 8.2% that come through the state of Florida Visitor Center. I'd rather take care of the 92% of the people that want to sleep in a hotel room, stay at a place, and go do something, and make sure we make money and get tax collection from them, versus banking on that 8.2% of the people might decide to stay here again because there's a pretty map in the city.
Well, and of equal or perhaps greater importance, we wouldn't expect you to know that. but at a time when we're about to close the deal on empowering Inverness to do more, which will make us more efficient, and then we know that the Crystal River will be next, it's really important that systemically we emphasize compliance with the law.
That's all I'm saying. I love the idea. I think it's a great thing. I just don't want to make sure we don't get ourselves in hot water anywhere.
So has
Well,
anyone?
by the way, well said, Max. Very,
Yes.
thank you for trying to bring that in for a landing. I appreciate that.
So has anybody heard of the app Road Trippers?
No.
I've brought it up to you guys.
Yes.
That is how I planned my entire Northeast trip. So I started with Florida. I knew I had to go to, we were staying in New Hampshire because of my cousin's wedding. Everything else that was planned was from that app. Our tours, visiting the oldest candy company in the United States, everything. And we've talked about adding different Crystal River things to that. And you can do the
Great idea.
tours on that. And that's, I mean, I saw Puxatawny Phil and Phyllis because, hey, we were 20 minutes from it. It popped up on my road trip app.
So,
So
if-
there's a lot of avenues that we
the
can
point
use
is,
to
though,
add.
the idea of this is to expand it outside of this county.
Yes.
It's going to be advertised outside of this county.
Yes,
It just wasn't in the packet.
yes.
So, back to the content development.
Got it.
That's what we're, John.
Back to the content development. Does having, you, Avis, you said this does meet the criteria, yes. So legally, we're fine. But the additional sort of cherry on top aspect of this is a lot of that content development will be deployed by internal staff through website, social media, maybe we rope in the ad agency to do some ad campaigns around historical walking tours, things like that. Yes.
Well, yes, no. So I don't want to lead anyone on to say we're going to take this one brochure and do a whole campaign around it,
Right.
because that's not the case. So I want you to kind of keep this in focus. Michael, you make a great point in regards to the visibility and the distribution from a tourism standpoint and how we're supposed to use the tax monies. What makes collateral and brochures unique is they pretty much are all standalone. They are designed to basically, when someone comes into a marketplace, they now know, okay, wow, this is some of the things that we can do. So they may come and schedule a visit to Crystal River, Inverness, Floral City, right, and have an idea of what they want to do. But then it's like, hey, by the way, you also can do this because we have this product, this new product now that you can do. So you got to keep in mind that's what it's also designed to do. So this particular collateral piece is not designed to, say, go to Alaska or go to Missouri. It's designed to enhance what we've already have in an internal product from a marketing standpoint. And quite frankly, it's something that we really don't have. It doesn't exist. So it is good to be able to educate a consumer, or when I'm at a presentation, or when we have visitors into our welcome center. Well, it's like, okay, you know what? We have something else besides the manatees, because this is exactly what you guys have been wanting for. We have something more than just sunset tour or something just on the water. So this is something that's kind of goes along with our mission with below and above the water, above and below the water. And this is something that's above the water. So this does this does go in with our campaign, but keeping in mind, it's an enhancement piece to what we're already doing, giving that visitor something else to do, and hopefully not only something else to do, to probably come back to an experience, because they didn't have the time to experience the first time because they didn't know about it, if that makes sense.
Yes. So, are you comfortable?
Sure. No, if it meets all the criteria, I think I'm just trying to do my job.
No, it's
Which is
it's
ask
an
the
excellent,
questions.
it's an excellent
And
discussion.
again, being a volunteer and only being here once a month, I want to make sure that we're all happy and that we understand why we're all sitting here, because there's a few new people as well that may have never understood the rules, regulations, and rigors of what it was we're designed to do here, so.
And one of the 5 cents can be used for capital projects to enhance our products, right? So that's-
Tourism-related product that creates the opportunity for overnight
Thank you.
accommodations.
Yes. Michael, you are on a roll this morning.
Can I make a motion?
Why we're here.
Yes. We need separate motions for each of them, please. So we're looking for D2.
Which one are you gonna do?
The first one,
D2?
yes.
I'll second D2 for the 1,500 for the downtown map.
With duly noted that the maps will be distributed, right?
Yes.
Okay, so a motion by Dr. Desai, second by Mike Engels. Is there any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
You were looking at
I
me?
move for D3.
Okay. Motion by Max Schulman,
I'll second again. 1,500 for the historical walking tour map of downtown Crystal River.
thank you, Mike. And a second by Mike Engels. Is there any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right.
Thanks. And you did bring up a lot of points.
I'm
It
for
gives
it.
me more ideas on
Right.
where we can go and what we can do with it, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate the efforts and that we need this kind of information, because one more, how many room nights do we get in the county every year? Do we have any idea? I don't remember. I know how many I get. If I got one more night, I'd increase my overall room night stay by 30%.
Yep.
And that would be beautiful. The owners would love me. They might actually give me a bonus.
right, and I
And
agree.
maybe they come back, maybe they can't do one extra night that time, but they keep
Right.
it and they go, I didn't
Right.
spend enough, I didn't
Oh,
schedule
I didn't know
enough
there was
time
all
here.
this to do. Let me go back and spend enough. Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
again, I'm with it. I just want to make sure we're doing our JOB.
I agree.
I especially appreciate that exactly in light of what we're doing with Inverness and
And we got
Crystal
new
River.
people too. I mean, we got 3
Yep.
new board members that
Yep.
haven't had this wonderful
Well, I know there's been,
opportunity.
in the past, there's several presentations we've had to deal with that people wanted to do events or whatever, and we wouldn't pay for any of their, help their advertisement in the county. It had to be
Right.
out of the county to bring them to Citrus County. So that's kind of what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, the people would be confused, because it's like, well, hey, they gave you a similar presentation, but they weren't advertising out of the county, so you turned them down. So this, we had to explain ourselves with this, Mike, so thank you. It makes it more clear.
And also keep in mind, just a clarification too, just a deal. This is collateral versus advertising. So we're not talking about
Right.
advertising with this
Okay.
particular, it's a collateral piece. And it's also collateral grant. Again, we're talking about literature now,
Right.
Now advertising, it's a totally different ballgame. When we're talking about, you guys bring up the Inverness thing, that's gonna be supposed to be for advertising and promotion. That's when that argument comes into play, Michael, when it's like the perfect argument actually in regards to versus a collateral. If that kind of clears it up for everybody too.
All right, D4?
All right, so the Nature Coast Bike Fest. We have another mic.
I sent you an email or a shared with you.
I can't access my email over here, unfortunately. Do you have the,
Well, no, unfortunately, I can't access my
oh,
accounts
no,
through this
okay,
network. So,
okay.
thanks for having me. I think what you're doing is really awesome. No, I mean, honestly, I'm not saying that just to be nice. Oops, sorry, pardon me. What we do is very different, very unique, and let me just start by saying, so my name is Mike DeFelice. I'm actually from Brooksville. I've lived in Brooksville since about 2014. I retired out of CENTCOM. I was a captain in the Army. I retired in 2016. So I worked in project development, project management. I worked at the chief of staff level, things like that. So, I mean, I've got a lot of organizational skills, and I don't mean to overburden you with some of the details, but I may get into some things, and if it's more than you want to hear, just wave at me and say it's enough. So, that being said, I also served on the tourism board in Hernando County for about 3 years under Tammy Heon, and I left the tourism board back in about 2021. The organization that I'm representing is, I founded this back in 2017. The irony is everybody asked me why I didn't do this in, Inverness or Citrus County. And I said, well, because I live in Brooksville, and the city of Brooksville is the one that asked me to start it. So they had a request. They wanted a motorcycle event, car show, and a farmer's market. So we created a farmer's co-op and funded it with a motorcycle show and a car show. That was once a month, 10 months of the year. And here we are since 2017, well, 2018, here we are 7 years later, 6 years. And we did our third annual event this past March. We had about 14,000 people show up, which was a little bit more than we had in our first year, which was in Brooksville back in 2022. Now, Mike, you bring up an interesting point, if you don't mind me. Can I call you Mike? You bring up an interesting point. And I'm one of those people that, gets in the car and goes.
Yep.
Which way you going? That way. When you coming back? When I'm done. The audience that our organization really reaches are those people. And you're right. There are millions of people that come to Florida that know I'm spending 2 nights here, I'm spending 1 night here, I'm going to this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. Now, I've got 5 kids, 2 5-year-old twins at home now. And, it's kind of nice to know exactly where you're going to be and what you're going to do. Motorcycle people don't. They don't do that. What they do is they come to see. And if they like it, they come back. And they spend a lot of time when they come back. What makes our organization and our event different in many respects, first of all, we're a 100% volunteer organization. We have no employees. We started this for the love of the ride. We do it because we love our community, and we do it for charity. So we have contractors, of course, every organization does. But we do this because we believe that the area that we live in is so different than what most people think of when they think of Florida motorcycle events. I mean, you go to Daytona. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Daytona Bike Week. I mean, y'all live up.
For the visitor bureau there for 5 years.
There you go, right? So, but y'all live up here in Citrus County, and I bet you the reason you probably live up here is because it's quiet, it's rural, it's wide open. There's lots of things to do. There's plenty of space, and you don't have traffic lights on every corner and people climbing over each other. That's what makes our event different than the Daytonas, the St. Pete Bike Fest, the Panama Cities, and all that. Those places are crowded. They're packed. And yeah, there might be 100,000 people show up in Daytona for 9 days of, drunken debauchery and music and all kinds of whatever. Maybe they're not into that. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll tell you, the people that come here, whether it was in Hernando County or Citrus County, they come here for the love of the ride. They come here because they can get on their motorcycle and they can drive 50 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles, never go on the same road twice, maybe hit 3 traffic lights, probably stop for 3 or 4, restaurants or local places to hang out, catch some music or whatever. But when they drive around, they see what's here. They see Crystal River, they see Homosassa, they see Inverness, they see downtown, they see, the historic areas. They see all this cool stuff, and they say, man, this is great. This is fun. I want to come back and do it again. Because the last thing a biker wants to do is stop and go and stop and go and stop and go. Bikes aren't designed to do that. And bikers aren't designed to do it either. So, unfortunately, I am reaching to the 1 to 5% of the people that don't plan where they're going. But I will tell you this. When they come here, they come in droves. People come to Florida. The snowbirds come down here. There's a lot of bikers. There's about 300,000 motorcyclists from around the country come to Florida between October and April. Generally, they show up around late November, and they leave somewhere around the end of March. Our event follows Daytona Bike Week by 1 week for a specific reason. There's, if you will, it's a circuit, okay? You've got Daytona Bike Week, then you've got, us. We're a week later. Then you got Panama City, which was this past week. You got Leesburg, which was the week before. Then you've got Galveston, which is about 3 weeks from now. And there's this circuit of events that go around the country, and they follow the seasons. They do it for a reason because, bikers don't like to ride in Florida in July because it's 1,000 degrees, and they don't like to ride in, Idaho in January because it's 5 below. So that circuit attracts a lot of people, and the vendors, the attractions, the things that people want are along that circuit. So we're well placed in that position, and there's by design we're there. The way that we attract people is when they come to Florida. They may be in Orlando. They may have just gotten on their bike and gone south and said, well, we'll figure it out when we get there. They may have actually had plans. They may have a condo. They may have any other number of things. Most of them are already in Florida. They may not be from Florida, but they're probably here for a couple of months or a couple of weeks at least, or they live somewhere in the region. More and more people will travel a couple hours or, 100 miles or 200 miles on a motorcycle for a day or maybe an overnight or maybe not. It's very hard for us to track how many people spend an overnight because we don't really know. Bikers typically don't hotel hop. They don't go, oh, I'm going to ride my bike over here. Hey, I'm in Orlando. Crystal River's only an hour and a half. I'll take the ride. We'll spend the day. If it gets late, we'll spend the night. If not, we'll go home, go back to our condo, whatever they're doing. And then we'll come back, the next weekend, or we'll come back tomorrow, or whatever they want to do. And we find that those are the people that really, really enjoy what we do because they like to get on their bikes and ride. Now, we don't expect people to show up for, 7 hours at our event. We don't expect them to sit there and, drink and eat and buy and, hang out for 3 whole days. What we look for them to do is show up, hang out, see what's to do, hear some music, make some contributions, because like I said, everything we do is for charity. And what we aim to do is show them what else is around here. And not to be crude or too blunt, but if there's one thing to do and it sucks, you ain't never coming back. That's just the bottom line. It's a long ride to get to Citrus County, and if there ain't nothing to do here, they'll drive around, they'll say this is beautiful, but then next week they'll drive around the Ocala National Forest over in Sumter County or up in, wherever. After that, they may go somewhere else. So I think there's a lot of value in the things that she's doing. Pardon my French, pardon my name, but anyway. There's a lot of value in the things that you have here, and being able to provide those to these people when they come is what we do. Okay, we get them to show up. We get them to come to our community. We get them to hang out, see what's around, and then we promote the whole area. And what we do is, to do that, we advertise outside the county, outside the state. We reach out through a lot of different channels, a lot of different media channels. We have a Facebook page, obviously, Instagram, all the social media channels. We have a YouTube page, or YouTube channel, which we're developing some more content for. On average, we reach about 175,000 people a year through Facebook. We pick up about another 12,000 through Instagram and other channels. Our print reach generally is somewhere between 70 and 80,000 a month, and we focus that during the 3 months before and the month after our event. There's a lot of other ways that we reach out. A lot of our digital traffic actually comes through Visit Florida. We've worked carefully with them over the last 2 years to try and improve our relationship across the state. You'll find a lot of our cards in highway rest stops. I don't know if you've ever ridden a motorcycle, but generally about 3 exits is, or 3 rest stops worth of travel is enough to warrant getting off your butt and going and sitting inside and seeing what's there. So we do a lot of the rack cards. We do pick up a lot of digital through Visit Florida, through other affiliates. There's a lot of, in the motorcycle world, the motorcycle culture, there's a lot of free channels, if you will, websites, places where people will find calendars and what's to do and things like that. One of the other things that we do, and I give a magazine. I don't know if it's made its way around, but if you wouldn't mind, pass that magazine around. This is Born to Ride magazine. Born to Ride magazine is actually a great partner of ours, and what they do is not only do they have a paper magazine, which is free, they distribute about 60,000 copies a month. That particular, if you'll look at, I think it's the double page in the middle, that's our event poster from this past year. Roughly 60,000 copies of that went out in Daytona. That was in March. So, 60,000 copies went out to 300,000 bikers who are here for 2 weeks to play with motorcycles. And Daytona is only an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. You wouldn't believe the number of people that came over from Daytona. Now, I understand the goal of the TDC is to put heads in beds. And to address your concern specifically, it's very difficult for us to get a grip on how many people are going to come and get a hotel room, make a reservation, and I'm going to do this. Typically, bikers don't stay still. They like to travel, and they decide where they're going to stay when they decide they're done. And, we hope they stay, or we hope they come back. Excuse me. Some of the things that you'll find in things like Born to Ride, not only do they have a paper media, they also have a digital channel. They have a TV show, they have a radio show, and this streams live across the entire internet. It goes everywhere. We've got hits that we pull up our viewership and our insights on social media and through our connections with some of our media partners, And we've got people who are listening to the live feed from Seattle, Washington, Idaho, Sturgis, Chicago. I mean, we've got them all over the place. So I'm really an analytics guy, and I do go into that. I'm not going to bore you with a million statistics, but I can tell you that the number of people that look at what we do and take interest of what we're doing, they may or may not be bikers. They may or may not be interested in coming to the bike event. But what it does do is it draws attention to the community. And when we advertise, when we market, we don't just market us. I mean, it's like going to McDonald's. I mean, y'all been to McDonald's, right? Well, a cheeseburger's a cheeseburger. No matter where you get it, it's the same dang thing. Well, a motorcycle event is pretty much like that. You know, you expect vendors, entertainment, food, music, good stuff like that. It's not so much the destination, it's the ride. And it's everything they do when they get here. Because like I said, they're only going to spend about 3 or 4 hours with us. But when they leave us, we don't want them to get on their bikes and drive all the way back to Daytona. We want them to go to Homosassa. We want them to go to Crystal River. We want them to go hang out in downtown Inverness. We want them to go take pictures and go walk around and see what else is to do. And then we want them to have dinner, and we want them to realize that it's, oh my God, it's almost 8 o'clock. I don't want to ride all the way back to Daytona. You know what? We can get a hotel for about 30, 40, 50, 80 bucks, whatever. Let's just spend the night. No problem. We'll get up and have some fun in the morning, and then we're out tomorrow morning. Sorry, Mike, I had to do it. Now listen, I will tell you this. I was infantry and cavalry, and I've been overseas a couple of times. I have never gone anywhere without knowing exactly where the heck I was going and what I was going to do when I get there. But when I retired, I swore I'd never do it again. And when I got back on my motorcycle, I swear to God, I don't even think I've used the map app on my phone unless I was trying to get out of a parking lot and couldn't figure which way I wanted to go to get where I was headed. But in general, you will find that motorcyclists, which is our main audience, they will come to discover. They will test the waters to see what's here, and then they will come back. They'll come back next year and get a condo in Crystal River or Homosassa, or they'll get a hotel for 2 weeks up here on the beach, or they'll come for, scallop season or whatever. They'll come back next year. They'll include it in their plan when they come down to Florida. Bikers in Florida, there's a lot of them. And they get around, and they travel. But you're not going to get somebody to come from Tampa and spend a night in a hotel, unless they get obliterated, and we won't serve them enough alcohol to do that. What you're really looking for with us, is to get people to discover Citrus County and to figure out what is here and make it their destination next year. Because I don't know how much a hotel costs around here compared to Daytona, but I know that I can't afford Daytona. I also know that I don't like driving around Daytona. I also know that I don't like Orlando. Panama City's not too bad a place, but it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's so much to do in this part of the state. The further you get away from the city, the more likely you are to have the people that we attract come and spend their time and their money. Now, they may spend it in stores, they may spend it in hotels, they may spend it on rentals, they may buy property. We don't know. And I'd like to be able to tell you exactly what they'll do, how many people will spend the night in a hotel, but I can't. But I can tell you this. Last year, our budget was about $148,000, and that includes in-kind contributions. So we had a great deal of support from the city of Inverness. And I know one of you is from the city of Inverness. Pardon me, you are. We were very happy to be able to donate some money back to a couple of charities last month. I think it was the 16th we were able to do that. We also retained some of our funds so that we're able to start our marketing and advertising going into 25. So we have a little bit of cash to operate with. Our operating budget this year we anticipate will be right around $116,000 to $125,000. We've managed to save some money on some of our contract services, but in addition to that, we're also increasing our entertainment budget and we're increasing our marketing budget. So what I'm asking the TDC to do is to help us with marketing. All right, our marketing budget this year is going to be probably between $18,000 and $22,000. We're going to work heavily with Born to Ride magazine because they have tremendous reach. On top of that, we try to shy away from things like paid advertising with Facebook and social media. We find that it's just kind of a waste of money. People that are looking for us and looking for things related to us, they'll find us. There's no reason for us to go, shove it, and the other, 93% of the population, they don't care. 16-year-old kids and 25-year-old soccer moms aren't really interested in what we're doing. But the kind of people that we do find, if you'll think about it, how much does a motorcycle cost?
Too much.
Yeah, well, too much, but
Almost as much as a hamburger at McDonald's.
oh yeah, almost,
or
almost.
Daytona.
So, I was never a biker princess. My bike, it slept in the yard on its side a few times just because I didn't feel like picking it up. So I'm not that guy, but the majority of your motorcycle enthusiasts, and I call them bikers loosely because they ride motorcycles. They're also dentists, lawyers, doctors. They're all kinds of people. They're the kind of people that can afford to go up to Harley-Davidson and pick up a recreational vehicle loan for $40,000 because they've got discretionary income of $1,000 a month to go waste on toys. I say waste. They're not the biker that you think of when you think of a biker. You think of a biker, you pick in your mind, a picture, and you got Sons of Anarchy or some crazy stuff from the '70s.
Michael, seriously, does anybody here think that bikers are bad people? Because I sure don't.
Well, I'll tell you.
I think we all know that.
Okay, I'll tell you this: bikers are very generous. Bikers are.
Two sides of it.
Yeah, well, hey,
In
Liz.
Daytona, we used to figure out where the Hells Angels and the Outlaws were going to have their rumble every year and staff up the
Yeah.
police in forms of thousands
Well,
of
Hollister
people to make
60,
sure
yeah,
that whatever-
Hollister 69.
But then the
Same
other folks
idea.
were all just
The Hells
like
Angels and the
lawyers
Outlaws
and
went at it.
doctors.
Next thing you know, it was craziness.
It was
And as I
always-
recall,
So
Harley,
There's two sides to it.
Oh yeah, no, listen, there's two sides to it. You're right. I'm a biker. I mean, I've been riding motorcycles since I was walking. I mean, actually, I think I rode before I walked. So I get it.
well, Harley Davidson helped really lead that brand when they did their brand renaissance decades ago.
Oh yeah, between Harley and
when
Indian.
they started doing destination dealerships, that
Yeah.
the dude in the station wagon with kids in the back and would actually feel comfortable going in, and
Oh,
his
yeah.
wife would feel comfortable going in. That was the big revolution.
Yeah,
as
I mean,
far
it's
as I
like
could
putting
tell.
on a costume. A lot of them, it's like putting on a costume. Now, I will tell you this: I'm retired from a three-piece. We call it a three-piece club. Okay, that's when you see a motorcycle cut. It's got the name on the top, the state on the bottom, and it says MC. I was the vice president, treasurer, secretary, and operations director for the Enforcers Motorcycle Club, which is a law enforcement motorcycle club. We have a chapter here in Citrus County. I'm still involved, but I'm retired. We are made up of retired law enforcement and military. There's not a single one of us you'll find that's got a criminal record. Now, there are people out there that do. You'll find the pagans and this and that, and the warlocks and all that. But I will also tell you this, and you can ask any of your sheriff's deputies that were at our event. We had probably 16 to 18 different three-piece motorcycle clubs show up at our event. Every one of them behaved. Every one of them hung around, had some fun, donated some money, bought some stuff, had a couple of beers, maybe listened to some music, drank some soda, whatever they do. And they all left peacefully, and as far as I know, there were no accidents, no incidents, no fights, no rumbles, no brawls. Now, we did 38 monthly events down in Brooksville, beginning in 2018 up until 2022, with the same ratio of attractions. I mean, we had probably about 2,000 to 4,000 people every month that we did it. It was a Saturday event, lasted about 5 hours. We'd get 4,000 or 5,000 people. But we had the same variety of people. We had a lot of people that would travel into the area just because it was happening, but, it wasn't such a big attraction. It was a few hours. But we'd have lots of different motorcycle clubs, lots of different rider clubs. We'd have lots of different types of vehicles, if you will. You've got everything from, the slingshots and the trikes to the, hot rod motorcycles and rat bikes and all that stuff. We would get street bikes, we'd get cruisers, get all kinds. And in the almost 7 years that we've been doing this, we've never had a fight. There's never been an accident. There's never been an arrest, and there's never been a brawl. And we've never had a problem. And I don't suspect that that would ever become an issue because, well, bikers kind of police themselves. If you're the fool, some Usually, the fools that brought you will bring you home. They take care of themselves.
I'm so sorry, I'm looking at the list that we have to
Yep,
get through by
I know you're
11
on time
o'clock.
limit.
Does
So-
anyone have any questions for the
I did
applicant?
just want to make sure that I explained who we are and what we do and why we do it. We're bringing people to your community so that they can see what is here. And when they come, we use that opportunity to contribute to the community. This year, we're introducing a scholarship. We'll use a social media intern from the local college. We're also working with local charities. Hopefully, we'll be partnering with the sheriff. And everything that we produce or raise our revenue goes back into the community, just enough to keep us going for next year. So with that, I thank you for your time. Do you have any questions?
I just have a comment, no question. The event went well when we announced we were doing it. I got inundated with phone calls. You're bringing the Hells Angels, it's gonna be death and annihilation, and it's like, you watch too many grade B biker movies. That's
Yeah, exactly. Well,
And it was nowhere near that. My husband and I also rode with the Three Patch Club. And,
can I ask which?
we rode with Rugged Cross for years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And,
Which
It
is
was
funny
a
because the CMA is actually very involved, and so are the Faith
Yeah.
Riders. They're contributors to our
we prayed with
organization.
quite a few of them, and that was another thing. At this event, it was not only family-oriented, the Christian clubs were praying with other bikers, and, I mean, it was just a wonderful event. No incidents, we checked, no wrecks, no drunken, everything that was predicted didn't happen. What did happen was tons of people. They had an organized run over here to Crystal Harley, so both sides of the county benefited. And it was just, I can't say enough about it. It did everything and more that you had told us you wanted to do. You pulled it off, so thank you.
Well, like I said, it's taken a little bit of practice. We're, in our third 3-day. I wanted to add real quick, and I know you're on time. With regards to getting people across the county, 2 things that I wanted to add to that. Our advertising campaign and our partnerships with our sponsors this year is going to start a lot earlier. So we'll be looking at, mid-summer to late summer, starting to work with things like Harley Davidson over in Homosassa, Crystal River. There's a bike night that Harley does over there. There's a lot of local motorcycle establishments and restaurants and things. And what we want to do is we want to try and expand our footprint. Instead of being just the 2 or 3 months before the event, shoving it in everybody's face, what we want to do is really market from about September all the way through the end of the event, and then for about a month or 2 afterwards. So we're getting to reach all the people that are coming to Florida for that wintertime season. It's too hot. I don't even check my mail. I mean, literally, the last week, I haven't been outside more than 3 times. I own a farm. I won't even mow the grass.
Is it in Whispering Pines Park again?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, and what I was trying to, actually, you might have it. If it's on that thumb drive, if you have that thumb drive, there's a draft map of our 25 event. We've expanded it. We're working very closely with Sherry Betchel over at City Parks. What we are trying to do this year is incorporate a lot more of your local vendors. We had a change of leadership going into 24, and we had an abrupt change of leadership coming out of 24. Like I said, I'm the founder, and my vision and the rest of the board, we're a nonprofit, but the way we do things wasn't exactly aligned with the leadership we had for 24. So a lot of things were excluded. Now, if you'll look real quick, you'll notice the yellow is pretty much, stay right there. The yellow is pretty much where all of our circuit vendors, if you will, people that come from, that travel the circuit. The blue area, we've added the strips in the middle, but essentially the larger ones are food vendors, and that's really where, we want to expand the opportunity for your local vendors to really participate. And then what we've actually done is we've added an economy vending. I did the best I could to lay this map. I don't know if it's actually to scale, but what we're trying to do is provide an opportunity for everybody in the community to participate. We don't want it to be exclusive to, these $1,000 a space vendors that haul tractor trailers worth of stuff around. We want people in the community to be able to come out and say, hey, this is what we can do. Now, there's expenses. We have electricity, advertising, a lot of other stuff. But we're trying to expand the opportunity to everybody in the community so that when people come here and they see the event, whether it's 1 day, 3 days, happen to be driving by and saw a sign, they go, oh, wow, this is really cool. Let's come back. Well, when they talk to those local vendors and they go, oh, yeah, there's a concert every Friday night or every month and a half or 2 months we have this big festival or, whatever. They're going to talk to these people and they're going to find out that there's so many other things to do and reasons to come back because we're only 3 days a year.
So, we gotta move along. Go ahead,
I was
right
just
ahead.
gonna make a motion and.
Yeah, don't, okay. I have one comment, and
Yes.
then I need to read something into the record.
Yes, ma'am.
For discussion, but, as far as social media advertising goes, you can actually get that incredibly inexpensively. You're not doing it.
Oh, yeah,
right.
no, trust me.
You can dial in and get out of.
We did a
soccer
pay.
moms.
I did a $500 paid campaign one time. We reached like 1.5 million people. What we figured out was that only about 3% of those people were people that we wanted to meet.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. Go ahead.
Let us do what we're gonna do. I feel like I know which way this vote is going, and I'm in favor of it, so I'll be voting for it. So go ahead and please have a seat. I want to read this in because this is a bigger issue that the board needs to have a discussion on real quick before we take the vote.
And
Okay?
I'm not looking for an answer today, but
So-
if you do, great. Thank you.
All right, so dear Commissioner Davis, I have just learned of the TDC grants meeting and wish to express my opinion that Citrus County should be more discerning in its promotions of tourism activities. Activities such as motorcycle rallies, airboat festivals, and off-road vehicle drives may be legal and profitable for local businesses, but in my opinion, are totally incompatible with the community values of Citrus County as the nature coast. Encouraging the import of these types of noisy, environmentally destructive toys into this area by outsiders who are intent on having a good time is a very poor use of tax money. There have been increasing public complaints about congestion, noise, trash, crime, and overdevelopment reported in the Chronicle. And in my corner of Inverness, Little Spivey Lake is being overrun by airboats and other high-speed watercraft with little regard for noise, safety, or the environment. Maybe our leaders need to slow down or even stop some of this. I like Inverness and expect to stay here, but I am in Florida for the weather and in Inverness for the bike trail. I also have the ability to move if needed. Best wishes for a more natural nature coast, Stanley Henson. He's not entirely wrong. And I will go on record as saying I'm not against bikes, I'm not against airboats, I'm not against ATVs, not at all. I'm against jerks. Okay?
We all are.
All right? So I am totally in favor of this. But
we don't bring anybody that does that.
yeah,
No.
I understand that. I think,
I was gonna
personally,
say,
I think
around here is loud.
motorcycles are not environmentally destructive at all. They have very, high mileage, per gas mileage. They're not environmentally destructive. I have a serious problem with airboaters in my district. And so so that is why and we can move on because we've got to move on. But I want everybody on this board to start chewing on this. We are experiencing rapid growth and we want to love this place in 20 and 30 years. So I need help, guys, trying to figure this out. I can't do a doggone thing about airboaters because we cannot stop conveyance. But that's just for a future discussion because we don't have time today. But please just think on it. And you were going to make a motion?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a motion that we approve the 7,500 for the Florida Nature Coast Bike Fest for 2025.
So move.
Okay, and you had already seconded it, I thought. Okay, so we have a motion by Mike Engels, second by Max Schulman. Is there any further board discussion? Michael?
Just point out what Otis has in the brief about it being maybe a conflict for the interlocal agreement with Inverness. So do we need to address that or amend our motion so that if that goes through, this fund comes from there, or we deduct that amount of money from the funds we give Inverness, or is it a totally separate issue or item?
Outstanding question. Ovis?
Well, quite frankly, that's a board decision, not to put it back on you guys. In regards to the ILA, the discussions with Frank and I, he has the processes for which the money is to be spent, how it is to be spent. So it is, the ball is in their court in that regard. I will say this, this is an excellent example of what an event marketing grant should look like.
Amen.
With my experience, we've had a similar show in South Carolina, the Airstreams, huge event, and they're not staying in a lot of hotels, but they bring Airstreams from all across the country, and it's a huge event for our particular county. Not that this is an Airstream event, a little bit quieter than the bikes, but, that's not my worry. My point is the budget, the analysis, I don't know if you add it up, but it's $720,000 from a distribution standpoint with that magazine. This is exactly how an event should be laid out from a marketing standpoint because it shows it all in detail. So when we're giving monies away, this is a standard on how we should be doing and how legally we are chartered to. It's not collateral, so I want to make the difference. So this is not because that was awesome as well. But from an event marketing standpoint, you guys we need to understand that this is how it's supposed to be laid out. I mean, it's a thick packet of, the budget, the proposal, the marketing. I mean, everything is in here laid out. So this is exactly how it's supposed to go. Now, in regards to that statement, it's just a simple statement that we felt like we had to put in there because that's what's proposed in the IOLA agreement if and when it ever goes through. We don't mean to put that in there to hold this up because I don't want it to hold it up from a staff standpoint. We believe in this event. We believe in events like this. I think it's just something to note. In regards to how it should be funded, if something goes through, I mean, we can look at it then. It's just, we were just from an attorney's, from a legal standpoint, it's not a legal term of double dipping, but it's just something to take note of. That's all it was.
I believe we had said that we did not want any double dipping, so.
Correct.
Is the city of Inverness comfortable with $7,500 being deducted from that for this?
If it qualifies, we market the city, they're
No,
marketing
we have
their
to-
event.
We have to keep going.
I know.
That's different. This is TDC funds. I got to keep this going. Yes?
But I have a question. So
Yes.
would this event be an event that the city would, if they had already received that money from the TDC, that the city would use money for?
We've been using money without the TDC. That's what we do when we host an event, so.
And it's actually not even a matching fund.
No.
I'd also like to say
But-
in terms of, this is a twofer because we got last year for free. And I had friends calling me that saw literature when they were in Daytona that said, hey, Butthead, how come you didn't tell me they're having, in your county, they're having
Did you
one?"
really just say butthead on mic? By the way, I
Sorry.
do apologize for the misunderstanding about the grant cycle. Okay, so,
I'm just curious because of the statement.
but you're using funds to support this that are not TDC funds. You're using.
Correct.
City money.
City money. So are you comfortable with us allocating $7,500 of the likely to pass group fund, okay? Interlocal agreement. Are you comfortable with that?
I guess my staff works on it. I don't. If we're talking about the same money,
You guys can still put money in that's not TDC
oh, I
money to do
know.
whatever.
But I don't know
this-
why we would have to subtract TDC money if it's not, I'm seeing it as apples and oranges. It's the same event, but what we do isn't his marketing. We do our own marketing. So I'm not clear why it would have to be an issue.
I don't see how that can be double dipping when that money hasn't even been approved yet.
No.
That deal's not gone through yet. This
Okay,
is something
so-
totally different.
So just to be clear, you are comfortable doing $7,500 for marketing for this, and then they may additionally put more TDC money into marketing that event.
Great.
The negotiations are going well, and I think we all trust that in the grand scheme of how much money there's gonna be, they'll work this
Okay.
out.
I'm just trying to serve,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get a consensus here, all right?
Yeah, and I spoke with all this briefly right before the meeting, because my concern was that we don't let this tie it up, that we can't give Michael and the other applicants
Right.
clear direction coming out of today. So I personally would like to see us approve these if we see fit, and legal figure out how to deal with whether it's part of the 150 for this year or next year or whatever offline later. But I don't want to delay their marketing plans.
Nor I just, and that's my thing, I'll have to get with our people, because I don't see where giving them this money is interfaced with what we're gonna do with the other money, because that would be then everybody who's doing an event in each city it would be
Yeah.
the same thing. Well, we're gonna subtract that from you, we're gonna subtract, so I see your point, but not,
Kind of gets down to the concept of what's the list of stuff they're gonna use the 150 for, and is this part of it or not? And then some accountability and some reasonability
well,
about it.
that's it, and
again,
none of that's
great
been
event, love the
established
idea,
yet.
You know, but
Okay,
We've been approved.
so we can
And
move
the
forward
money
with this
hasn't been
vote.
approved, and I think this is a wonderful
Right.
opportunity.
This
for
is
us.
great, so don't punish him because of the city.
That wasn't punishment at all.
No, but I'm saying,
That was
let's
still
move,
getting the 750,
let's
500.
move forward and.
Okay, so I'm gonna call the vote. Does anybody else have anything critical they need to say?
do we need to amend the motion at all to address the concern? If we
I don't
we
believe
don't.
so, because that's gonna be a whole nother vote,
Okay.
right? And we will bring it up at that time.
Well,
So-
we already voted it, so it's,
Well, it's a BOCC vote, yes.
and they, I think you approved it too, just.
No, it's not come to us yet.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
It's been approved by more or less a consensus to move forward with it, that's it. It was not an actual
All
vote.
good.
Okay, so all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. D5.
I couldn't even do if I could.
Go do your retired thing, just go. I work 3 jobs, just go. Yeah.
Do we want to move, is the taste of the tails?
Do you want to go back to D1? It's up to
Yeah,
y'all.
is she Taste of Tales? Yeah, we can go, I'm sorry for your name. So, Elizabeth is here for the Taste of the Tales tours. We'll go back
Man,
up to
I am
D1.
begging you, keep it to 5 minutes or less.
Excuse me, but I
We
also
are
have to,
way off track. I have another board meeting I have to go to in Sumter, so I've got to get this moving.
Luann does need to make a comment.
yes,
Yes.
I might have a conflict of interest on this,
Oh, good.
so I won't be able to vote.
I mean, good that you spoke up.
Yeah. If this goes forward, she'll be using one of our restaurant as a stop, so.
Yes, I assume that these rules are the same as BOCC. You're not allowed to recuse yourself unless you have a direct financial interest one way or another. Obviously, you do. She'll fill out the paperwork.
She does.
Got it.
She has
Got it. Perfect.
We could
Thank
make
you,
this easy.
Luann.
You could include the Plantations restaurant, and I could recuse myself too. Sorry. Smart ass comment.
Cool move though.
I think I'm gonna resurrect
That ought to get a bonus.
Max's butthead
If we
comment.
include Bayside, you know.
You
You can exclude everybody in here. Getting back to this whole profit, nonprofit thing.
Is
Sorry.
Luann the only one on your list?
As of right now, yes. I would like to include more restaurants, but right
Okay.
now.
Kill me now. Carry on.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Elizabeth Fernley with Taste and Tales Food Tours. So I am looking to launch this summer guided walking food tours in both Crystal River and Inverness. So this idea came to me from my experience working with the Chamber and City. I did reach out to Luann and Kemper. I wanted their input as I came up with this idea, and I have talked to many others. Now I have about 6 and 7 restaurants on each side of the county. So we are going to have our first trial run this Saturday. So we're very excited. So we're working with the likes of Cattle Dog, Oscar Penn's, Twisted Vine, Bubba Q's, Geyers.
You can't really walk to the cove from there, so I'm kind of curious.
There's a boat ride involved. So
Oh, okay, that's cool.
yeah, so
That's
there's
really cool.
a very nice boat captain that Luann shared her contact information with me. So we're going to have, we hope maybe to, as we learn and grow, to add in maybe a bicycle tour, maybe other elements. But right now it's a guided walking food tour. I handle the ticketing, I do the promoting, I'm the tour guide right now, and we only promote local Citrus County mom and pops. And that's really, it's really simple, and I just build that relationship with those restaurants and bring in people, work with advertising, social media. So that's why I'm here, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Anyone?
Sounds
Man,
good
this
to
is
me.
right up my alley. I don't do chains if I can at all avoid it. Anybody want to make a motion?
I move we approve.
Motion
I'll
by
second it.
Jackie Hebner, second by who?
Me.
Okay. Any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Wait. I move fast.
Yeah, I guess you are a for-profit
Yes.
entity?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I guess I don't fully have my mind around us promoting things within the county for-profit entities unless every business is able to come forward asking for print material. The other thing I saw is, and it goes back to the same discussion we had with Allison earlier, everything in here was distribution of the print materials within the county and nothing outside the county. So I've got a little bit of concern about the precedent for-profit entity promotion as well as the nothing outside the county for the print material distribution.
And the criteria for heads and beds.
So I don't know, part of that may be more toward all of us and staff and part of it may be back, to you as far as distribution. But those are the two concerns centering my mind as I read through it.
This is a collateral one though, right?
This
Yes,
is collateral.
It's collateral. The only thing that I could think of is the way this is currently written is because it involved multiple stops, so it wasn't a one restaurant per se. So, from a collateral standpoint, new product, it is that towing the line of for-profit versus nonprofit. You make a good point in regards to, let's just say, restaurant, I don't know, the plantation, and putting together a brochure to promote their cuisines, and what their offerings, and coming to the TD, I don't think we could do that, but.
I got one, by the way, I'll be happy to submit next year. I got one for manatee tours, I got one for overnight stays, I got one for golf courses, and I pay for all
In
of
the
that.
past, we had discouraged for-profit people. I've been here for 16, 20 years.
Going 2 times.
I didn't hear what he said.
And then
He said we discouraged nonprofit, and he's been on the board for a very long time. Staff, did you bring this forward with your recommendation to go forward?
Well, I don't think I realized, honestly, it was a for-profit. I was, even though it was ticket sales, I thought it was still a nonprofit entity set up for the company. So, I mean, for the actual organization, because non-for-profits still, they do things from a revenue standpoint. So, are you listed as a nonprofit?
No.
Unless it has changed, I previously got 3 different book grants, even though my publishing company is a nominal profit maker. I don't really make, but it got a legal review, and since the beneficiary of this is the restaurants, it's not her, it's just enabling her to put this together. The overall value still comes to the community, except that it has to have some kind of equal application, like any restaurant can put in, and you come up with a lottery system or something that makes sure that folks value. But I really hate to see us keep bringing up profit, and there are things that small businesses can't do. And when you enable a local small business to do something that the beneficiaries are all around the county, that's a good investment, provided that it also, if you're using the money out of this fund, that it also encourages tourism from outside. So if the campaign included Brooksville, the villages, and Denellen, not their restaurants, but to market it there, it would pass. So I really don't like to see us saying it's a profit or non-profit issue. It's the overall beneficiary, and are we advertising outside?
So
And
Mike, we have to
it
change
really
the
needs a
policy
legal
first.
review.
I think we have to change the policy first, because we made a mistake in the past, we should not repeat it. The legal department has to tell us whether we can give it for-profit people. That is my-
Has legal reviewed this? And legal passed it?
They passed it, they had no concerns.
Okay. I think Max brings up some really good points. Personally, being that I live here, I would not do your tour, because I go to all those restaurants already. So but you would be pulling people from out of the county.
Yes, for the grant application, they want to have that emphasize that you're going to advertise, save some of these print materials for the local TDC. But from my research, most of the business would come from the villages and outside the county, Tampa, things like that. I mean, there are locals that do take some of these food tours, and
Yeah.
but some people don't. I mean,
Or newcomers to the county or whatnot. There's always this little gray area that we sort of dance in, which is people that aren't staying the first time, but they kind of fall in love with what they saw, and then they come back for a longer stay, and then they actually do sleep at the plantation for $30 a night.
Went up 32.
Can I go ahead and book my reservation now?
Sorry, that was based on space availability, and the space is all unavailable.
I'll
Madam
take
Chair,
6
I
months.
guess
Yes.
my concern on distribution is when I looked at the block here, it talks about the visitor center, the chamber, the partner restaurants, local and other local businesses for distribution. There's nothing that addresses anything outside the county for distribution of these print materials. So that's what spurred the second part of my question.
And I
And-
appreciate you bringing that up. Just
And that was
Thank you for
guidance I
bringing it up,
got
Emma.
from the review process to emphasize where I'm putting it in the county. So I originally submitted it with less of that, so I added very specific county locations per the feedback. Because of the application wants it to have it distribution in the county.
it does.
They want at least 10% of the collateral in the Welcome Center. It does not mention being distributed
Who's
anywhere
they?
else. It's the application guidelines and what legal
Oh, okay.
reviewed, and legal said, hey, it's not specific, it needs to be more specific. That was the only change we made before.
Well, this is
Moving on.
this is a new thing, and we would get, if we approve it, we would get a report on how well it goes. And we do a lot of things first time, and if it's successful, you get it again.
But this is actually the third time in this meeting, what we've come down to is specifically showing how we comply, because we still have to worry about all the millions of people that are watching on our videos and, well,
Thank you, Matt.
Hearing you say the word butthead, yes, just saying.
I take it back.
Right.
But I really think we should, unless there's some pressing time issue, table it and have that redone so that we start emphasizing, for example, the distribution outside the county. To me, it's a great idea. It will help local restaurants, but it's gotta comply, and we gotta show that compliance is important.
But legal passed
Already
it.
passed it.
Legal passed it, and we already did D2 and D3 are in the same genre.
Exactly.
So I don't wanna penalize.
Yeah, and it's not like the plantation is coming forward with a grant to promote your food or your manatee tours or what have you. This is an individual company coming to promote multiple restaurant
Entities. Yeah,
locations, which to me serves the community well.
yeah.
Do those restaurants change like once a month or something, or once
It'll
a
change per
week,
tour. It won't be static.
Is there
So
a
it
cost for
will-
the restaurants to get involved with this?
I'd love to. I've been knocking on doors, catching people whenever I can, emailing. So anybody who wants to get involved, I would.
But, I mean,
they
is
can-
there a commitment, I guess the question is, from the restaurants in a financial perspective to make this program work?
A financial commitment. I just make sure that there's the food. I do pay for the food myself.
No,
Oh,
what do they pay for to be blessed to be in your program?
nothing right now.
I think there's an opportunity.
There's your money.
Nothing right now. I mean, it's just their time and energy. It's a new thing.
Even if it was a percentage of what you brought them that came back to you that would support this. I mean, I'm not trying to make your business model for you, but
Well, and I guess
I
that's
guess I
my
just did.
question, with the Allison's presentation for Main Street, it's volunteers doing it, but is this being done as a volunteer to promote other things, or is it being done as a business that's making money or making a living or part of a living off of it? So yes, it is promoting other businesses, but it's also primarily your business. And that's my understanding from the read. I may
No, it is a business, a small business, a startup. I applied under thinking that it was allowed. It wasn't,
apparently it was.
Well, clearly it wasn't allowed.
If legal allowed it, that part of it's fine, it's more the precedent
Legal
side.
doesn't understand the interpretation of the rule.
And it's even more so the money, it's more of working with the TDC on this idea. It's really just getting in front of everyone here, sharing the idea, because it is something that brings a smile to most people's faces when I tell them what I'm working on. They go, oh, food and
Right.
wine tour, that's wonderful. When can I do that? So,
Not to over or understate this or commit for the TDC, but I think we would all, the TDC and the Visitor Bureau, be extremely happy to take a product like yours and promote the heck out of it all over the place. Without the money side of it. If it's a great product, it's a great, I pay for my advertising on the TDC board too. But my point is, I'm still listed on the website. The website still puts, I don't know how many unpaid events on their event page. They got tours throughout the place. I don't think the state of Florida has ever given us a dime for the archaeological park to be listed. So that's what they do. That's what they do for a living. They take great products and great places and put them on the website, but 99.9% of the ones that are on there aren't getting TDC funds to promote their for-profit business or even their non-for-profit business. And I think it's a great product, don't get me wrong. Matter of fact, I would, again, take the business model and try to get the restaurants that are gonna benefit from it to pay you for it, because that's who's benefiting from it and who should.
And it's also a color of money thing. In some ways, this is an established pool of money and people see it.
Right.
But some things are economic development and having
Right.
small business grants that go to startup businesses to get
That's-
them going is good, but it's not this pool of
That's
money.
exactly the next point I was gonna make, is where's the chamber involved with this? Where's the EDC involved with this? Where's the small business alliances involved with this? And at what point do we separate that with what we're chartered to do by the law of our funds versus where economic development should happen, the chamber should happen, which they're always this instead of that. So,
So you're against it?
no, not necessarily. If
Okay.
it's legal, if it's right, if it's correct, please don't take this as me being against anything.
No, you've said multiple times that it's a
Our
great
job
product.
is to make
Yeah.
sure we fiduciarily make sure the money we're charged, the public's money, is being done correctly. And I guess if lawyers say it is, then who are we to question it? It would be great if we maybe had the lawyer here to answer the question, and maybe they missed something in the interpretation of the law. And this is, for $1,500, it's not worth all the time we're spending on this, except
and it's $750.
$750, except for the precedent we're setting, to Dr. Desai's point, that we move forward in the proper way as we're charged to do as this board.
Right.
And we tend to vote sometimes with our emotions instead of our heads.
Well, and the other question
That's
is,
a curse of humanity.
the other question is what question was legal asked? Did they do a total review and say it's good? If they did, okay, we can trust the lawyers.
And just for the record, Ingalls brought this issue up, not me.
So my,
I was calling the vote. He got it in under the
so
wire.
so the concern would be then moving forward of the precedent set for lots of small businesses coming forward looking for TDC money.
Yeah, for profit. I mean, literally what would stop me from, I spend as much money probably as the CVB does out there marketing this destination, and 90% of my stuff isn't in the county.
Yeah.
And I'd say 80% of the people that sleep here go spend money with everybody else in the county. They would take your tours, they would love it. They do your bike paths and your boat paths and your kayak paths.
Do you live here?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, it's like, where do we draw the line? We had this issue, and Dr. Desai brought it up with a boat tour company at one point. I think it was Captain Mike's wanted us to fund their brochures, and we turned them down because of the same.
But we actually haven't been all that consistent, and it isn't setting a precedent, because, for example, we had somebody come in February a year ago and get $40,000 to do episodes on a channel, and it was a single business that competes with a whole bunch of other captains, and the money was thrown at it. But
Is that the Safe Crystal River thing?
No, that was the boat captain that has a TV show.
right,
I can't think of his name.
right, because he was a startup, and it was a good product, but in terms of, if I was any one of the other captains and I saw somebody get $40,000 to do 4 episodes of the show, I'd want some of
They were
that.
distributed nationally, I assume.
Yeah, it was he was very established already. He had
Oh,
done it.
yeah.
I thought he had,
Yeah.
like,
He has
he had a
to
big,
be-
big following. That was a different
That was
ballgame.
advertising versus collateral.
yeah.
There is more, liberty to interpret things on the collateral, so. I guess if we have a legal review and we're only talking about $750, as long as we've discussed it, I don't have a problem voting for it.
Yeah, I think that gray area for me, looking at this, is because it involved, multiple restaurants, really in the county. So that's where it
It's
was
a
just-
collaborative effort.
It
in
was
other
just
words,
different.
almost.
It was really different. And I see your point. We throw around that term precedent, and I can respect it and everything. So what you guys are saying, and I think it's valid points. And not to put Miss Elizabeth in a position
Yeah, sorry.
of uncomfortability, but it was from my view, looking at it as with the multiple restaurants, and again another product, something that we didn't have. That's the lens I was really looking at. But I understand what Dr. Desai and also Mike is what they brought forth in regards to the for-profit notion of it. So I understand that too.
Can I call the vote? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
So motion carries something too. Is that right? Dr. Desai and, who was that? Shoemaker? Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, D5.
It is. Corvette and Camaro. I'm sorry. So the D5 Corvette and Camaro car show, they're moving to June. Well,
They requested if they can move their event application to the June TDC meeting. They had
a prior engagement already.
that they could not get out of.
All right, we need to hear that for the agenda, by the way, when we approve the agenda, just to make it, I try to run this like a BOCC meeting, which is kind of tight on
Okay.
protocol.
All right.
All right.
Noted.
Does it require a vote to move forward to June?
No.
It does
We're
not.
just,
Okay.
but on the agenda, we would say we're striking D5.
Understand.
Okay, on D5, it'll be moved.
Okay. I thought there needed to be a vote to move it to June, so that's, okay.
I don't believe so, do we?
No, it just says in the application, at the next, how the window is, the next available.
See, this is
TDC
when I
meeting.
like having an attorney in the room where I say, to be legal, do we have to have a motion to table?
Yeah, it's just something in
Yeah.
our grant application. I don't consider the grant application a legal document, but it's just something, how our process is. It just says at the next available meeting, you do presentations. So we probably need to kind of maybe
Okay.
change that language to say, hey, May or June or something like that.
He probably should have brought it up before we approved the agenda.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You're supposed to say we're pulling D5 from the agenda, so
Okay.
Yeah.
we could
Okay.
redo the vote on the agenda to say that we're pulling D5, and then we're covered,
Understand.
okay? So all those
Do
in
you want me
favor
to
of
do
pulling D5?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Now, do we need a motion in a second? Or we're keeping the motion in the second, the original motion in the second?
Right.
Yeah, who
I
motioned?
made the original motion, so I'll amend it to
Remove
Pull
D5.
D5, and then
D5.
whoever was the second on that? Who was this?
Mankey.
Mankey?
Was it? Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
you amend your second, all right. Now we're legally covered, moving on. Strawberry Festival.
What about
I
Twisted?
don't see anybody in the crowd for the Strawberry Festival.
Okay.
Nothing in the packet either, is there?
No, there is. Page 1.
Is this our usual thing with them? No?
No,
I didn't see it either.
Page 116.
Page 115 is the Fall City Strawberry Festival.
Yeah,
16, 17.
it's short and to the point.
Not at the chamber. Did see that.
There's one person.
So we vote on it in their abstention? Say no?
So back to amending motion to strike D6 on the agenda.
Do we need to? I did not know prior that
Does
she
it
wouldn't
just-
be here.
Does it just die on the vine if nobody presents and we don't vote on it?
I would think.
say.
Well, we can vote on it in abstention too.
I don't even see the paperwork.
So this is the fourth year that funding is requested, and we try to get them to be self-sustaining after 3 years.
Correct.
Oh, I found it.
Does anybody feel strongly about this application one way or another? Do we have a strong feeling that we don't want to support it after 3 years? Because we could just vote it down and move
That's been what we've
on.
done.
All right, I think we'll pull it till June.
Pull it till June?
See what they want to do.
Well, if I was asking for money, I'd be here. so.
Me too. Yeah.
You amend your agenda motion to pull
Yes, to
D6?
pull that one, to pull D6 also.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. In the future, let's make sure we have all this straight. All right, come on up, Alicia.
D7.
Look how much time we saved. Paul,
Pardon?
look how much time we just saved.
I'm feeling a little better now. I did not sleep very well last night, so I'm like on 4 hours of fumes.
You didn't even go to the UFCC meeting yesterday.
Huh?
You didn't even.
No, but I had CJ in the house.
Hi, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I am Alicia Belden. I am the Executive Director of the Twisted Arts Initiative right here in Citrus County. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and our mission is to increase awareness and access to the visual and performing arts here in our community. This application that we have submitted for you today is for our Walk of Arts Festival. You'll notice a couple changes with it this year. We're actually skipping 2024 so that we could move the date. Last year we did coincide with several other huge festivals inside the community. And in order to make sure that we're not pulling away from anyone else or conflicting with anyone else, we decided to move it this next time. So it is being moved into February. And that way we're not conflicting with the Inverness Arts Festival. I think there was a seafood festival or something as well for the chamber. Yeah, there was a lot that weekend. It was a little crazy. So we have moved it this year, so I'm really excited about the new date. We are also returning to Liberty Park in Inverness for this one. We did move it to Floral City last year, and we've decided to go back into Inverness for this one. Last year, even with all the conflicts with all the other events going on, we still saw a huge increase in attendance. We saw up to 3,000 people throughout the day. It is a longer festival, however, it is a one-day festival. Just a really long day. We have a sidewalk chalk competition that is available for children 5 to 18. It is absolutely free for them to participate. There's no entry fees, there's no sign-up fees. And they do get all of the supplies needed. So literally the children show up and compete. They are competing for over $4,500 in high-end art supplies that we are ordering from our suppliers. So it is materials that you cannot get locally here in Citrus County that are designed for professional artists. They are judged by celebrity and local award-winning judges. Generally, we tend to bring in gentlemen from Ink Master. So we do have celebrities judging these children. They are also walking around and engaging with them, talking with them. We have a new judge this year who is from the Chuck Jones Foundation. Chuck Jones, for those that don't know, is the creator of Looney Tunes. He's a Warner Brother artist, so we do have one of the illustrators coming in this year as well.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
We're really excited about it. We do have some other surprises, which I can't say yet. Coming with the Chuck Jones Foundation as well. So I'm really excited about this new partnership there. We do also bring in our headliners. Last year we had several headliners. We had O-Town, we had LFO, and we had Ryan Cabrera. In our marketing, we do market in and outside of Citrus County. To be honest, our marketing here in Citrus County is basically organic. Our organization has a really good footprint here, so most of what is happening is completely organic. We really don't put that much money into local marketing. However, we do put quite a bit into external marketing. Last year we did check, we did a survey for you guys, actually, I believe. And we had 35% of our chalk signups. We had 200 chalk signups. 35% were from out of area, which I thought was pretty cool that people were driving in just to compete in this competition. We did also offer VIP tickets for the bands last year, and that's where we actually saw the most out of area. 88.9% of our ticket sales were to out of Citrus County area codes, with 23% being from out of state, which was completely shocking to me to hear that people were flying in from New Jersey, New York. I had some California zip codes just to see these bands. So I thought that was pretty cool. Our social media reach last year, we had over 1.2 million social reach with 973 impressions. 973,000, sorry. So we do have a pretty good reach, and to be honest, that is with minimal budget. This event is pretty much solidly funded by donations, and by my for-profit business spends a lot of money on this. So we're very short on our marketing, which is why we're approaching you guys for a larger sum this year. So we're going to be going for the $1,500 this year, because we were only able to put. We did match what was given from you guys last year, which was $750. I think we spent a little under $5,000 on our marketing last year and had a huge turnout for that. So I'm excited to see what can happen if we can put a little bit more into this. Does anybody have any questions?
That's an impressive amount coming from out of town,
Thank
out of
you.
state, rather.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Shoemaker? Yep. Second by Hubner. Is there any further board discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia.
Adding those 80, 90%.
Thanks for being a
factors out of the
really
county make a big difference.
good force for good in the county. You know how I feel about everything y'all are working on. All right, Director's Media Report.
We'll take it easy on you, Alice.
All right. I know folks gotta go.
You got 16 minutes for
I
y'all
know.
to stick the landing, just saying.
You got it. All right, no pressure. The timer starts now. Okay, this is just the same, I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone.
In all seriousness, if there's anything important we need to slow down for, that's fine. I just may have to go.
I appreciate it. No, good morning, everyone. Thank you again for the opportunity for another month and another glorious TDC meeting. So, first slide. It's like the last couple of meetings. I just wanted you guys to just kind of see what that 100-day look like for me. That graph chart, I follow it religiously. It's not going to change until we get to day 101. So we are on target with everything. So just to kind of keep you guys in the loop on that. And you'll see that in the next slide. So going into the first 60 days, of course, we've talked about before meetings with staff. Obviously, most of the TDC members, besides a few, still have to schedule some meetings still. Also, all of the BOCC, building out new programs for the VCB, launching new social engagement industry platforms already, tours on virtually every corner of the county, with more to come still. Of course, I've met with over 40 stakeholders right now. Not that I'm counting, but I am. It's a lot, still a lot to do still with that, but really excited about that because meeting the stakeholders here locally gives me a good idea of our strong points, our weak points, what we have to work on, and it's really listening to the stakeholders in regards to their needs. Also presentations, we've done a Citizens Academy already through the county. Crystal River City Council, hopefully in Renesas, will be sometime soon. Also, with the Crystal River, we was a part of the. There's been some talk of manatee, kayaking, paddleboarding, just some issues in regards to safety guidelines, and that's kind of been, a little rumbling in the community and everything. And out came a do's and don't video that we've uncovered that the city actually produced roughly around a year ago. But no one has ever seen it. So because of these conversations, I was able to go to City Council and talk about this truly amazing video. And hopefully next meeting, we'll be able to produce that for you to show you all. I think it's going to be a wonderful video that talks about the the do's and don'ts on manatee practices, safeties, getting around, of course, in the bays. Commissioner Davis, you talked about how there's been issues on the waterways with airboats, just a lot of different things, not just airboats, but just our kayaking, our paddleboarding, and it gets a little congested. So I was able to see that firsthand, and come to find out, there is some information out there. And the good thing about this particular video is it's a funny video, but when you see the video, you're laughing, but you're getting educated at the same time, and that's what's so cool about it. So it's one of those info, fun, entertainment type of videos. And they showed a little bit of it at the Crystal River City Council, but they have to do some edits and everything to it. But it's about a 4-minute video, and hopefully come this time next month, we'll be able to show you all as well, and I think you guys will definitely approve of that video. Also not on there is, I've done a couple of in focus videos and productions with the county, with Michael Bridges and his team, so that's been really great. Just recently done one with Lisa Moore and Save Crystal River out at the waterways there, in regards to, with the springs and what we're doing with the $250,000 grant. So we're doing more and more videos on there just to kind of put some more attention on those particular projects. Announcements. I think this is what I'm most excited about. Of course, you have our brand new is the Citrus County Partners in Tourism. You all have received invites. This is an event once a month, the third Wednesday of every month from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. Our first event will be at the Monkey Bar because the monkeys are back in their palatial estate. Commissioner Davis, she voted for that, I believe.
Breaking the hives of that subject.
But we're excited about that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that at the next slide, but not just yet. One good thing is we talked about being a data-driven organization. We now have STR reporting in our organization, meaning we have our hotel information back. It is huge. It's going to go with our other analytics in regards to Zartico and other things that we're trying to bring forth into the organization. Also, we have a brand new map guide that Christina will pass around, and I will say new. It's more of it's the redo. So we had to redo it and everything. So this is our newest version. The cool thing is it has our new branding, which you guys also voted on. Remember the whole water and how everything kind of flipped, and it goes along with above and below the water. So we updated some listings, made some things bigger, bolder. And it was a big process that I believe Kelly really pretty much led the initiative on that. So I'm going to give her kudos for that from our team. She led that, and we just got these in, was it yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, we literally got these in yesterday, so it's really cool to show you these maps. In regards to this particular map, we're now working on, and I would say Kelly's going to lead that initiative as well, we're working on our new trail map as well. So we're going to really beef up that particular map. Max, I would like to get you involved in that a little bit more, because I feel like I want to get some more cyclist minds on that map, just to make sure, we have that marketing mind and everything, but I want to make sure when we have these certain maps, whoever the consumer is, that it makes sense for them, So that's going to be our next production for the VCB as well. What's next?
Nicely done.
Thank you. What's next? You guys can keep those two, by the way. We won't even charge you. But what's next? Meeting with finance this Friday for our Phase 3 budget. We're still working on the sales to pair with the marketing and media initiative plans with Miles. New staff position will be posted this week. There was a talk of an industry relations specialist coming into the fold. After meeting with staff and just trying to get a good gauge on what made the most sense for us in our division, that position is no longer an industry relations specialist. It's going to be a destination experience specialist. So it's a new, not to be a fancy title, but let's just say the description is a little bit different and what the needs are and everything. It's already been approved from the county standpoint. So I'm working with the HR.
Our current head count is one down, right? Because Jody.
That is correct. We are one down officially. Okay. So we're one down, and
we were waiting to fill that until you got your feet on the ground and
yes,
figured out.
And I appreciate that.
Who needs to be in what chair? Doing what.
Exactly. And then even going forward, I do believe that the business also allows us to even grow even further. But right now we're limited on space with the partnership with the chamber in the city because of obviously because of the hurricane. So we got to figure that out. But there's some room for growth, especially, so we can do more.
And I want to say publicly, thank you to staff for bearing up being one down, because I know that adds a lot of burden to your plate.
Yeah. Well, that one down feels like 5 down for the record.
Yeah, I know it does.
And then of course,
I'm handing out praise and thanks. I'm looking at you, Alyssa. I know you.
I know.
Sorry.
You were doing several roles.
right. And in the future, some of that is to bring in some more assistance to support other functions of our roles. Because when you think about Alyssa, for example, in the whole social media, content management, that's a 24/10 type of job. So it almost kind of needs a little bit more support from that standpoint. And that's what we're looking into for the next fiscal budget year as well. So just FYI.
For those who are counting, the county staff overall is just now catching up for 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I
Because we
agree.
did a massive bloodletting when Duke cut their tax roll with us.
Yep. Also, we'll be doing some updating on staff roles and descriptions to kind of align them with what they're already doing, and I've learned that through some of the one-on-ones that we've had with each of the staff as well, and to kind of bring in more of the industry standards, and again, what makes sense for Citrus County tourism in whole. All right, next slide, please. So this is the invite that you all received, and we're really excited about this. We have this database of we're going to be supporting over 600 partners, and from a tourism standpoint that we have. Now, it will be at the Monkey Bar because obviously
What
the
day is
monkeys.
that? May 19th?
May the 15th.
15th?
Yep, May the 15th. Now, this new
Did anyone
program,
drop that on my calendar?
Citrus County, I'll make sure Cheryl has that as
It's
well.
on there.
Okay, cool.
It's on for 8:30 in the morning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hence 8:30. Just in my prior experience, we did these meetings, these events once a month, 8:30 to 10, because for our partners, our restaurants, our hoteliers, tour operators, attractions, that's like a sweet spot. It's not a perfect time, but it's like a sweet spot where it's not early enough, but it also ends early enough to where they can still have their business day back, and it just makes sense, especially from most of the partners are your restaurants, because there's more restaurants than anything. So usually you can't ask a restaurant GM or manager to come at noon or to come at 5 o'clock, because that's just like prime time when they're trying to serve their guests. But we have a brand new landing page, brand new website, the Citrus County Partners in Tourism, just to kind of give you a brief overview. It's committed to delivering a unique and unparalleled experiences that enrich the lives of Citrus County visitors and residents. Very quickly, the Citrus County Partners in Tourism Program, PIT, which we'll call it PIT, provides invaluable exposure to visitors, information and education to hospitality partners throughout the county. The Nature Coast, whether it's a hotel, restaurant, tour operator, attraction, or service provider, the Citrus County Partners in Tourism team's primary goals are to connect partners to valuable spending that visitors bring to all Citrus County, and help to grow their businesses. Through effective networking opportunities, targeted advertising, promotional events, and industry research, that information. The team delivers access to countless ways. We are fueling Citrus County's strong visitor economy. The four pillars of it will be the partner benefits, the partner events, the access to research and marketing, which are going to be strong, fam tour opportunities as well, which some of you who are businesses have also been a part of. We bring in journalists, influencers, and things of that nature. So we're excited for you guys to come in and to attend if you can. One announcement with that is it got so popular so fast where Channel 13, Fox in Tampa Bay will be here to cover us. So that's a pretty big deal too.
For us or the monkeys?
Well, I'm saying us, but it's probably the monkeys.
It's both.
You realize what's going to happen to me next week, right?
It's
going to be back in the news. There's going to be a whole new round of sound-offs.
Is this event open to businesses, or to any business?
It's tourism-related business. For example, shops. For example, I know you have a shop, so yes, I believe you guys.
I don't, but my daughter.
Yeah. Your daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all tourism. So it's partners in tourism. So it's all things that are, geared toward tourism and people visiting their entities, whether it's restaurants, hotels, shops, trinkets, tour
Okay, good,
operators, and
'cause I
stuff
told
like
her
that.
about it.
Yep. Oh, no, totally. Yes, that's exactly. Because, for example, you're talking places on Main and Stritches Avenue and downtown entities. Those are, areas where, our travelers and our visitors go to spend money. Okay, what do we have next? Okay, I'll try to tie this up here a little bit quicker. This is, some of you have seen the STR report, the STAR report from a hotel standpoint. I know we have some new people on the board who have maybe not have seen this, but we have not had this report, I don't know how long.
About a year.
Okay, about a year. So that was one of my first initiatives when I landed here. It was like, we have to have this data. Basically, the data, it lets us know what our hotels are doing, in regards to the occupancy, the average daily rate, the revenue per available room, the RevPAR. So these are indicators to let us know, also not just Citrus County, but if we notice, we've added, well, you probably don't notice, but you see all these other counties and areas and the state, how we are pacing with everyone. And it kind of gives us a good gauge. Michael has seen this report. Dr. Desai has seen this report because they live in that hotel sector, So it gives us a good gauge. If you can see real quickly, we're at obviously the yellow. From an occupancy standpoint, this is from March of last year to March of 2024. We're down about 18% from an occupancy standpoint, okay? 70%, 69.9, 70%, it's a solid number, but we also kind of look at it from a comparison standpoint, what everybody else is doing as well. Then you have an ADR of 133, and then you have a RevPAR, which is pretty much like, gosh, I'm gonna say it's probably the gold standard how we measure it. That's the big number, and that's the revenue per available room. So basically, all the available rooms, it tells us how much those rooms are worth. And that's where we probably take our biggest dip in that RevPAR number of $87. And then when you compare, so those are some things. So maybe Michael and Dr. Desai, you guys can maybe tap in if you want to, but it seems like we are probably leaving some money on the table. Maybe not those properties, but overall, there's some more monies that's out there that we could probably be had in regards from a full county standpoint. Michael, would you?
No, it's great to see it again. Thanks for getting it back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, RevPAR, by the way, is that I used to do a seminar on it with my hotels, and I titled it RevPAR, Fact or Fiction. Well, it's an index, and it's a result, like you say, revenue per available room.
Right.
If you want to get your RevPAR number, you just have to multiply your occupancy times your average rate.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll give you RevPAR. Or you can take your total revenue for the hotels made and divide it by your total number of rooms, and that gives you RevPAR, which is the same thing mathematically. So it's an index. So it doesn't, your RevPAR can go up or down. If both occupancy and ADR are up, it goes up. If you could have RevPAR, or you could have occupancy go down and revenue go up, or ADR, and it could stay the same or go up, or vice versa. So in a perfect world, we want to grow rate, we want to grow occupancy. And you might be able to address this also, Holly. Rate is not always your best way to market a product. But that seems to be the default for most people, which if you look at this, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
We're the lowest rate in that fix except for Hernando County. So everybody else is caught on that you don't have to drop rate to drive demand.
Right.
Which is, I think, important. You got to drive demand with things to do and stuff to have, and reasons to be there. We're sporting the lowest occupancy, which then would lead you to believe that we might be leaving something on the table, but since we're the lowest rate, it's not because of rate problems. We're not overpricing ourselves in the marketplace, which is what that tells me.
Right.
So then it gets back to an overall demand issue, and is the overall demand a problem because of a lack of advertising the wrong thing, a critical issue or problem in the community that the world knows about that they shouldn't? All those fun things. I don't think any of those are the case. I think this is representative of us coming off the historic highs we've had for the past 25 months,
Right.
26 months, and in light of softening economies, because nobody up there has total black. There's red in everybody's columns. Just depends on where the difference is. Like Hernando is losing 11.5% in occupancy, but they're gained rate by almost a point, so they have a 10-point index on RevPAR loss year over year. So we're 15, so we hurt the most, but we're not too far behind Lake County. The only place that had a positive RevPAR index for the whole thing is Orange County, which is Orlando. Oh, man, that's going to change, I think, in April, May, and June.
Yeah.
They're suffering for advanced bookings right now.
And go to year over year.
But we also, you know, I think in light of everything you just said, this is really great data. Thank
It's
God
excellent
it's
data.
back.
That doesn't include RV parks or short-term housing rentals.
Correct.
Right. But we had
This is
the
strictly-
evil trifecta last year of the staff upheavals, the ad agency, all of that other stuff, the massive staff upheaval with
Right.
Yeah.
the former director, but then also hurricane and tornado.
Or tornado, right.
Right.
So,
we're
I mean,
suffering
that's,
that, and then
So-
that's,
yeah.
our numbers are pretty good, I think, compared, you know, considering.
it'd be great to
those
see
three
this
things.
compared to like 2019 and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can pull that too.
Yeah,
So,
we can do that eventually.
yeah, I
But
can
no,
pull
I
that.
don't know how much more you want on the editorial on the Star Report review.
No,
So-
no,
You
this is
sorta
good. I
asked, so
just,
jumped in.
yeah, no, this is, I'm just happy that we have it now. We have the data, we can look at it and, you know, just share it with our partners, our hotels partners especially.
Year to date.
And also working with Zardico, which hopefully we should have that, you know, maybe approved for next month is in regards to our data and future analytics. So that's all I have on my, I'm sorry, my
On the year-to-date, is this calendar or fiscal?
calendar. It's
Yeah,
always,
you're
it's
right.
always gonna be calendar.
Thank you.
They do have a running 12 on most of the reports, which would give you your running 12 months, but this one is year-to-date would be January through March.
Yeah, and there's a moving one, yeah, same thing, but yeah. Yep,
Again, a lot of red.
All
Yeah.
negatives.
yep. Okay, so, you know, finally some black. Well,
Yes,
I'm gonna show you why.
Positive collection.
So year to date, we are like that, you know, let's just call it almost not, you know, $100,000 down from a revenue standpoint. However, March 2024 revenue, $333,532.60. We are now actually in the black by 0.5% almost. If you notice the last several months, you should have that attachment, but we have been red. Basically. So we've gained over $1,400 this month. I mean, the last previous months, just so you know, from October through now, minus red at 31,000, red 33,000, red 9,000, red 18,000. Last board meeting, we were red 5,700. Now we're black 1,400. You know, so
It's all right here.
okay, yeah. So that's a good thing. So we're, you know, it's, I think we're trending up. We're trending up, and that's what it's showing us. I think for me, when we have this article and we get some of those metrics into the fold, you know, I really want to focus on that October through January months. I noticed those traditionally have been our lowest revenue generator months. So I want to try to figure out, you know, what we can do there, because there's definitely opportunity there. When you look at, you know, April, you know, for example, it's 350. You look at March, 332. You look at, you know, again, February, 316. But then you see October, November, 200, 208,000. December, 195,000. You know, we want to make sure, you know, what we're doing there. So some of our campaigns and our direction are going to be directed toward those types of months, because, you know, we would like to kind of get those revenues up even a little bit more. So that's where the opportunity is, and that is good seeing this. Social media.
Okay, hi, Alyssa for Discover Crystal River, and I'm gonna go over some social media. So on Facebook, we hit 200,000 followers. At the same time, at about the same time, we hit 35,000 on Instagram, so that was reason to rejoice. I know that Avis spoke to you guys about that at the BOCC meeting. So on our Facebook page, we had a nice video with a mama and a baby manatee, and that hit almost 74,000. And then on our fishing page is Captain Tony again. He's our poster boy. He always does the best with his fishing reports. And then on Instagram, we had one that, let me change my glasses. that was 131,000 views, so that's pretty good. Then we'll move on. And we're still in second place, so that's really good, with the follower comparison. And when we go to our insights, let's see. Oh, we had a really good Facebook month, 1.2 million reach, so that's really good. We got several, 100 new followers. And then stories, we had over 23,000 views on our stories. So we can move on. Trying to make this fast for you. Our fam tours, we just had David Brown last week. He's an adventure journalist, so he's doing stories on saltwater, freshwater fishing, and then also manatee snorkeling. And he's got publications lined up. And then coming up, tomorrow, we're having Bonnie and Gava. They are an influencer couple. They reached out to us, and they have over 550,000 followers on TikTok. They wanted to come quickly. We said okay because of their following. And the nice thing about them is usually they only do pay to play. So normally to have them come to our county, it would be anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 plus all of the money that we would spend on hosting. But because they wanted to come here and they wanted to come quickly, we do not have to pay that 5,000 or 10,000. They're lovely. Kelly and I have been working with them, and they're coming tomorrow. So they're going to be doing a lot of fun things. They're going to be doing a dive trip with Crystal River Water Sports. They're going to be doing a manatee trip out of the plantation. So a lot of adventure, a lot of water. That's the model for their social media. In May, we've got a group fam out of Ireland, and Gosh PR, our agency that we work out of England, they set that up, and they'll be here for a few days. The end of May, we're having Eat, Drink, Travel, and that's going to be an East Side visit, so they'll be visiting Inverness and Floral City. That'll be nice. Then in June, we're having an Elvis Media Fam. They're going to be staying at the Wood Spring Suites in Inverness, and they're going to be doing all things Elvis. We hope to see you there, Jackie, and maybe speak about your, experiences with Elvis. Elvis will be going to some of the events as well, and we may possibly be having an Elvis impersonator there too. So it's going to be a big, all things Elvis that weekend. And then in August, we've got Mommy's Block Party. They are a mommy blogger. They're from North Carolina, so they're within our Drive market. And I don't know, we haven't decided on the dates yet, but they will be coming in August. And they'll be doing all things with kids, and that'll be a combo tour. That'll be some Crystal River, Homosassa, and then as well as Inverness and Floral City. So they're going to write about the entire county, what to do with kids, that sort of thing. Whoa, sorry about that.
Awesome.
Okay, so these are our, I'm going to change glasses again. It's just easier. Sorry. And then, these are our impressions and views and engagements. We did pretty well this month, and you can move on. And then we had a lot of 4.7 million impressions on that publication, and then 2.9. So, very healthy with our media. So did well. And then next one, thank you. And then we wanted to mention that Inverness was chosen to be part of Visit Florida's Trails campaign for 2024. And Christina, is it possible to play that? Let's hope. Sometimes it doesn't play. Sometimes it does. I didn't know
Nice.
what Inverness was, I would want to go visit. So that's really nice, and that's a coup for us. There are obviously a ton of towns that they could have chosen, and they chose Inverness, so I hope you guys are excited about that. I was.
Yay.
And Councilwoman Hepfer, if you have you ever seen that video yet? Have you seen that video
Have I?
before? Councilwoman Hepner.
That's the first I've seen.
So if we need to get this to you for council's meeting, if you wanted to show it,
Greatly
I think that'd be a good idea, you know, but we're happy to share that with you. I think it's an amazing video.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just showing us, you know, we're just promoting the entire county. That's it. It's a great video.
It's great.
So these are some PR and events. I like to highlight this sort of stuff, and I just thought that was such a cute picture of Terry at the media mission in Chicago, and she's in the second row. She looks very cute, and that was it was a great opportunity for us. And Terry went, and I believe it was about 175 publications, journalists, media outlets that she got to see in person and promote Citrus County. So it was really great. So that was a very successful. And then I just wanted to make mention of the did I say that right? Is it CCA?
CCA,
Okay.
Coastal Conservation
Florida Star Fishing Tournament. And I'm going to let Avis and Michael Mankey talk a little bit more about that. But Avis was there on the first day of fishing. Explain, because, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm more than just a suit, as you can see. First time fishing, and I went out with the folks with CCA because, you know, the big tournament starts Memorial Day through Labor Day, so it's 100 days of fishing, and it's a huge tournament. This year we will have, we double in the number of tagged fish throughout the state of Florida. Correct me if I'm wrong, say anything wrong, Michael. So they wanted me to get out there on the boat as part of their promotion to make awareness of the actual tournament. So this was about a week and a half ago, and got out there about 6:30 in the morning, first time fishing. Had to go buy some shorts. Yeah, well, yeah, basically.
Or here?
No, ever. I mean, I did, when I was 7, I did something off the banks of the Ohio River in Kentucky, but that's with some dough balls. That's like when I was 7. But yeah, so this is pretty much the first time. So the staff told me to go to this store called Bells. Never went in there before in my life, and I bought some Real Legend shorts for the first time ever because all I had was a suit, and I didn't think the suit was going to look good on the fishing. So.
No, that was you.
Oh yes, yeah. This is me. This is me.
He's not just a suit.
That's proof.
And I just thought
Dude, that's a big doggone fish.
That's his alter ego.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Hepfer, just so you know, you're getting the total package in me.
Do you have a Superman thing underneath?
You know, I'm telling you, I do it all. I'm more just a fancy presentation and fancy words. I get down, okay? I get down. So, this is a rough crowd. So as I carry on, I caught a 29.5-inch redfish.
People were hating you.
Oh, it was, and honestly, I still don't know what I did, you know, but I did do it. And then I caught a 27-inch redfish. Now, the cool thing about it is both of the fish were tagged. We got it on video, and, you know, whoever catches, you know, if you can catch one of those two for some of these fish, it's $100,000. So we're talking about a lot of money. They have over $500,000 in prize money and boats and all kinds of things that these people can win. It's 100 days of fishing. It's all through CCA. It's a great tourism-related event because it's going to bring a lot of money into the county, and it was just really great to be a part of it. I'm excited. You know, I know exactly where that fish, where we tagged it and where we dropped it at. I really don't remember, but it doesn't matter. But I think it's going to be good for the county. We are definitely highlighted throughout the state of Florida with this particular event. We hosted it this year. It's just going to be really amazing, and it was really good that I was invited out to be a part of it. Michael, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys may remember, we voted to be a destination sponsor. There's only 2 in the state of Florida, and what that gives us, besides their love, affection, and continued promotion, is that we do get 4 additional redfish that are tagged, that are released in the area. So to come to our area, you have twice as good a chance to catch that tagged redfish. There's 8 other divisions within the Star Tournament that don't require a tagged redfish being caught, doesn't require catching a big redfish. You can even enter the tournament with one of the 8 categories in the trash can division. If you go out while you're fishing and collect 5 gallons worth of trash, you can enter it into the tournament. And then at the end, what they do is you can enter up to 3 different species of fish a day. Then it becomes a lottery drawing. So after, theoretically, you could have 300 entries in the deal. Then they just draw. So it's not like you catch the biggest or the most or the best. It very much promotes conservation. They very much promote catch and release where at all possible, which again is what CCA is all about. Lisa Fitzgerald loves our destination, used to grow up here fishing and doing stuff, has had a number of TV shows she's done. They came for this little event we put together in April to do video shoots and to get it promoted. So it's on their social media, it's on there, it'll be all over the place. And then we do get to host the awards banquet once every 2 or 3 years. Right now, the only other county that's a destination county is Charlotte. Used to be Titusville, Brevard County used to, but then their new executive director didn't see the value in bringing people to fish in waterways for some reason. They still put 4 redfish out there from the CCA standpoint. So 101 days, 3 fish a day, 8 categories. Like if you catch the biggest, if you get drawn in the offshore division, which you can do here even with grouper and that's in the division, you might win a 250 horse Yamaha motor. And then there's also, not to belittle it, but scholarship fund. They give away hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships, and when we're sponsoring that as the plantation, the $5,000 scholarship goes, they select an angler out of the regions that the scholarships are donated from. So we get a local person that benefits from that scholarship for education right in the area, and that's awarded at the banquet in October.
I like the garbage section.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's good.
Anybody can do that.
So yeah, that's all I have. Appreciate Alyssa and her efforts, getting me out there into the community more and more opportunities. I'll lastly say she mentioned about the Elvis group that we had in town, and Councilwoman Hepfer, she was a part of that, and I learned a lot from the stories with the whole Elvis thing and how her family was a part of that. I believe your dad was former sheriff, if I'm
Chief of Police.
Chief of Police, excuse me. And that was an amazing story. I'll let her tell that maybe at another time. But my point is, it's really good having our TDC members a part of some of our fam trips, right? When people are in town and they're in town to promote us, or they're in town with a group of people, because I really want you guys to get a little taste of that and what that feels like, and the work that goes in behind in recruiting these people to the area, and then most importantly, why they came. Because there's a story behind, that Elvis group. That Elvis group was only going to Memphis. That Elvis group was met in London, from Terry's work in London, going over there. And so we pulled that group and just to say, hey, let's not just come to Memphis. We got a story here now too. So now you have a full busload from a charter, 40+ people who were here to see what we had in Inverness and that historical homage of the museum and the old courthouse. And that only happened from, our efforts of just going out telling the story, so to speak. So those are those things that we just have to do more of, telling that story and making sure you guys are all a part of that, especially when something is reaching your particular district, community, and or business. So I appreciate you, and I want to say thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Terry did an awesome job. I got to give her kudos. She did an amazing job, and the people in the old courthouse, or we still say old, it's the historic courthouse. But when I was younger, it was the old one. And they did an awesome job, and the people had a blast. The English visitors loved it here, so it was very cool.
That was fun. Okay. Anything else?
Oh, So, in the visitor center, we've had 22 states, Florida being at the top of the list, followed by Arizona, New York, and Pennsylvania. And for international travel, Germany was at the top, and then we've also had visitors from France, Belgium, Denmark, Canada, South Africa, Switzerland, and Latvia. Yeah.
Just more Terry's travel. I guess I'm Terry's travels. More Terry's travel. This was actually from the sales mission in New York and Chicago, and it's just some of her dealings with partners, journalists, media people, and 3 days of meetings. And that was a partnership. Just so you guys know, we do a lot of partnerships with Visit Florida. So it might be Visit Florida along with maybe 6 or so other destinations in the state. And we go out and we just pretty much talk about us, because the goal is to get them to write about us, to blog about us, to come and visit us. So we got to really kind of pique their interest in why us. And that's what that pretty much is. Okay, so we are going, you want to go to the next slide there, I guess?
Do you want to do this part?
Yes.
Before we move on?
Well,
Or what do you need?
Let's see.
Because the next slide is other business.
Oh, okay, I thought it was all in here, I'm sorry. So, in regards to the unbudgeted travel for the request and in the International Annual Convention, this is monies where we've just moved monies around from other travels and education with FADMO. So we basically covered all the expenses there. This particular annual convention is also actually in Tampa. Destination International is hosting this. So this is no extra money. It's just more so moving the money around from one event to the other, because we did not attend the event. Christina, do you have anything else to add for that? And this is for me to go, by the way.
Just that we were not attending the FADMO annual meeting and the FADMO marketing meeting, so those monies will be moved to this event for all of us to attend.
Do you need a motion, sir?
Yes, I do.
I'll move that we move the money to travel for all of us to attend the FADMO in Tampa.
Well, the Destination International in Tampa.
Moving from FADMO to.
Oh, from FADMO to.
Correct.
Destinations International.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mike Engel, second by Jackie Hubner. Is there any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Other business by council members?
Yes.
Anyone? We'll do the cities first, and then we'll go elsewhere. So, who wants to go first?
Go alphabetically.
We had, of course, the National Day of Prayer down at the depot. It was the 18th year, and I was at the first one, where we had maybe 30 people, and there was over 300. So this time, so it's amazing that we live in a county where that many people aren't hiding their faith, and it was a true mix of everybody, every denomination. It was wonderful. The Elvister was amazing. They got to hear the tragic story of why I'm not his, would have been his wife. Now I would have been his widow.
You were what, 11?
10.
10, yeah.
But he was gonna drop on that knee and ask me to marry him, and I knew it. Anyway, that didn't happen. Whispering Pines Park, we're getting a good addition, volunteers to help in the park, which is something that we've been working on. Our staff has for a very long time. And last meeting, Max, you mentioned the mountain bike trail.
Yes.
Come on. We do have one out there. I kept thinking we did, but it's been a great deal since anyone's ever mentioned it.
I'll be enough to talk about it in about 2 minutes.
Okay, but we do have one, so yay. And then this is beautiful, but this is the 53rd year for the Inverness Festival of the Arts, and it was not on there. So just maybe when they redo them again.
Okay.
It would be added, because it's like, I think, one of the oldest ongoing festival in the county. I know, because I was at the first one. Yes, I'm that old. I was a child.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For Crystal River, let's let's see, the splash pad is now back open.
Woohoo! Just in time.
Yeah. We had a putt-putt golf open up recently as well, downtown. Three Sisters and FWC had Casey DeSantis come when they released Toast the Manatee. We've got an upcoming First Responders Barbecue at Cope Park, and we're prepping for the 4th of July celebration. So, kind of an update at Crystal River.
Yeah, my stepmother blew up my phone. There's a Florida airplane here, state of Florida, and the big black cars came in. He was here. I'm like, chair of the board of county commissioners. Theoretically, I would know, but I had no idea. And she's the one who let me know. It was Casey DeSantis, in and out with one of her children,
Yeah,
one or more of her children for the manatee release. So
yeah.
I'm like, whatever. Max, you had something?
Just a quick, the Chamber of Commerce hosted an initiating meeting of folks to try to see if we can stimulate mountain biking. It's development, but it also is big bucks in Marion County anyway. We had, my writing partner Tom was there, was actually several folks, including a representative from Congressman Missoula's office, as well as a member of the Marion County TDC who happens to be involved in the mountain biking business of bikes, big money in that. And the best part of it was I got to see the alter ego of Alvis. So first of all, he still wore the kicks, but you got to see his car. And then he let me take him down to, and a couple of the other folks, down to see the current state of 3 different trails. And with the possibility of getting started in some way. We had a bunch of different talks on how do you crawl, walk, run to having mountain bike trails, how do you have the support industry to do it. And it was interesting, but he has a killer Jeep with the kind of handles like this that you gotta hold on, and he was moving it around. But he didn't shy away from the mud even with the kicks on, so I did get to see the man, the myth,
The legend.
out in natural, so it was good. It was good.
Oh, God help us all.
I'm gonna send you a note, I would like to see a letter sent. Mickey Tomlinson is retiring, he happens to be the park manager for the Cross Florida Greenway. And that is our northern border. Most people have no idea how much recreation goes on there, and I don't think we have a great idea on how to leverage some of the tourism. We also have
Do
the
you want
only
an
hotels.
official letter from Discover Crystal River thanking him, or what do you want?
Your call, but just to make you aware that this guy literally was started in working with them in 1984 at the Greenway. He's been there all along. He's a well-respected guy. It's no accident.
Do you
that
want
we-
it to come from BOCC or Discover Crystal River? I guess is what I'm
BOCC would be better,
Okay.
because, for example, that.
Can you send what you want written?
Yes.
To Cheryl.stanton@citrusbocc.com?
Will do.
Thanks.
Okay. Then the last thing is I just want to say a good thing about airboats. Like almost every other hobby and sport, the vast majority of the folks that have airboats are wonderful people and they're good citizens. Airboaters are essential in a flood situation. They are essential in search and rescue for kayakers in the remote areas we've got. So don't be hating airboats. They pay a lot of money for those
I really
airboats.
don't.
Okay.
I said, I'm not against airboats, I'm against jerks. There are poor people that live on, not poor financially, but they live on the lakes in Inverness, and they are freaking terrorized at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
They're
we have-
self-reporting. I'm not out there gauging anything, so I'm just
We
passing
have,
it
we
along.
have FWC law enforcement,
Yeah.
and we may need to work on education, but it is a good community. We happen to have riverine waters of excellence in this county. We're one of the few places in the whole state, and we have airboat trails. So, again, it's at least worth looking at, because the vast majority of those responsible.
Like I said, I
Okay.
am absolutely positively not against airboats. Nobody should read into that.
Okay.
What I've understood is that, I was famous for the yahoos on boats with the Blue Water District back in '21. That was the quote in the Chronicle. I have heard, I have not verified, that there are yahoos that come in from out of county and they put in the Inverness, they don't spend any money here, they don't stay overnight, they don't do any of that, and they don't care about our community, and they are causing problems with wildlife, river, or lake bank erosion. Definitely the wildlife is bad, and then keeping people awake at night, and they just want to go to church the next morning.
True that.
On Saturday nights.
Okay.
So that's what I get a lot of emails about that, a lot.
That accurately describes it.
Yeah, it's just that little subset. If we could
Yes.
just make them lose our address, that would be great. The folks that hang out at Luann's are not the folks I'm talking about,
Most of the time.
most of the time.
Some of them sneak in there.
And I'll put a plug in for a responsible airboat operator and owner. She happens to be on our staff, and it's Christina Lamb. And she knows a lot about it. I think she educates us and the staff about.
I don't operate, my husband operates.
Okay, so she's.
And I've really got to go, so we either need to wrap this up or walk out. So, or I need to walk out. Does anybody else have anything?
Just one thing.
Okay.
I sponsor a couple dragon boats with the Nature Coast Dragon Boat team,
Yeah.
and we have 2 boats we sponsor, and now we just start the youth team as well.
Oh,
Get them
cool.
involved in
I love the Dragon Boat
Good.
Festival. That's
really
awesome.
taking over.
Anyone else?
I won't be here in June, I'm out of country.
Well,
Anyone else? Okay, open to the public. Anybody like, gentlemen, you've been sitting there this whole time, okay. Alicia, thank you as always. And seeing none, we'll close open to the public. Next meeting Wednesday, June 12th, 9 a.m. right here, and we are adjourned.